And everything was fine.
Yep. You saw nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Pay no attention to the, there's like a thing happening here. A wipe even.
Actually, I have to sit in the right place.
Zoop.
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 Look how tall
Hi.
Scott is.
Wow! Wait for it, Bob! There we're slightly more equal.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Well, that was
Whoa.
awkward. We don't know what happened there.
Yep.
You know, everything was supposed to go, and
Then it crashed.
then it didn't.
Woo, woo.
The torpedoes hit. Aw.
Yeah.
Crosshair, you're here. Cross here.
Yay. Cross here. Yep.
Cross here.
I guess that means you caught
mean-
up.
Yes. cross
Technically, you know,
here. Oh my god.
Jack is not zipped up because we're not playing right now.
God.
It's true. That means all decorum goes out the window. I mean, I suppose there isn't usually much decorum
That's for you.
in the game.
John's
Cake.
jacket is what was
Cheesecake.
Oh
keeping our
shit.
stream mature.
DJ.
Okay, I'm sorry, but John's face with those is amazing. Why does it look like that?
Yours are very small because they
Mine
think
are
your
tiny,
eyes are up there.
But you
I can't see them
I look
Oh.
like
because
Matt
my
Murdock.
chat's through Streamlabs chatbot, which
You
does not
can't
show
handle them.
custom emotes.
Oh no.
Well, they're very
Really
fun.
very
fuck is-
silly. It couldn't figure out where your eyes were, so it just slapped them in the middle.
So good.
Put it there.
So, here's the thing. They have their frozen dessert,
We do.
but I only have yogurt.
Aw.
So, I have
Ice dust
I have
that I'm gonna get a
iced-
paper towel for.
I have ice dusted the entire table.
Hooray.
Jesus.
That's what Flair will get ya.
And now I have frozen yogurt.
Yay! Clap, 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 clap.
Gulp, 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 gulp.
Yum, yum.
God, gotta get to those chunks of peanut butter.
I
Getting on
just
my
totally. I swear this never happens.
On the table. Oh no.
John,
Nailed it.
Just went
another moment
everywhere.
Where you tried to... Was it a bottle open?
I'm super excited.
No, I can't remember.
Okay.
I don't, it's not specific. It was like a flourish was done and then chaos ensued, but it was very funny. So that's it. Could be anything. I mean, I think we've all
Probably
done
knocked over wine glasses. I remember doing that a lot during Exaltwitch when the
Yep.
three of us were at that little table and we're all like, "Oh, we're good. This is fine. We
I
got
mean-
so much space. Smash."
They have the fro, and I have the yo.
And I have the
Kate
cheesecake.
has the bow. Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes more sense.
You have the hyphen. Even though we
Thanks.
don't actually use the hyphen.
Yeah,
Oh,
we're bad people.
hyphen.
So I wonder if everybody knows. But that's it. That's it. That's all, folks.
Have a good night.
Yeah. That's. This is the. What are you
Pointing
doing?
above you
Why?
because it says the FroYo session above your head.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah. We ran into an interesting situation last session. We
Yes.
ended it.
Whoa. Interesting. Yes, that
and
is
then
interesting.
we ended it. Woo!
What the?
Oh my god.
And then I ended.
Oh my god.
Explosion. Yeah.
As it turns out, we were playing, and it just started feeling like it was a good resolution, good wrap-up episode, and we had already started considering ending the campaign, so it happened.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Wow, DJ Zesty just throws it out
This wasn't
there.
the TTRPG you were looking for. Yeah. We had been talking about it beforehand. We had talked about maybe wrapping at the end of the year. We hadn't found a specific date because to some extent. Are you okay?
It's so like
Viscous?
Glommy.
viscous and
Oh, the viscous tears.
Uh-huh.
Oh, like Melba's tears. That's so cute.
There it is. Cross
But
it.
yeah.
Boom.
We recognize a good thing when we see it, and that was what we played last session.
Thank you.
Turned out to be an excellent conclusion. So rather than being like, oh no, we have to play 3 or 4 more sessions, we did what made most sense for our chronicle and for our characters.
Yeah, because
We can still talk about their future.
you know, there's potentially, you know, say mini arcs or whatever, but it would have been a resolution similar to the one that we had reached, I feel. So it's, I don't know, you know.
Yeah.
Well, no, the other resolution would have been like,
Pew, pew,
and
pew.
the redshift runner just spirals into a planet and
Or I mean, the fact that our goals aren't necessarily super duper aligned meant that like Rigel was like, no, my ship, and Melba was like, no, my bounties, and Feena was like, no, my pride,
My pride.
and then Kappa was like, hello.
Hello.
So
I don't. What does this mean, Crosshair? Like, I don't remember that. Like,
Did I say that?
Yeah, but
I mean,
in what
probably.
sense? What did we? Who boned whom? What is? Don't look at me in that.
I'm
tone
gonna
of
like
voice.
that. I need to go back and watch that.
Oh, the bones! Right, we touched bones. That's right. I remember.
you collided
We
your
smashed
humeruses, your humori.
Our bones smashed together.
Stop.
And it was the only time that they ever boned.
It's true.
Wow.
Correct.
Well.
They were
Thanks, Trade-off.
virgins until that very second on camera, folks.
Wow. That's the de-virginating sound that you're hearing.
So in case you haven't been to one of these before, this is a tradition that we blatantly ripped off of Aragorn. At the conclusion of a campaign, we have what's called a FroYo session. We gather a frozen dessert and we talk about the game. We find out we sort of reminisce about what happened. We talk about what could have happened. Sometimes we play a couple of games, but today there are a couple of other things that we know that we're doing. The first is, after our discussion, after we take your questions, after we go through what we need to go through, we are actually going to be playing a one-shot, still starring Feena Mercier, Rigel Marine, and Melba Gravlax, but it will be not using the Edge of the Empire system. It will be using All Outta Bubblegum, whose rules we'll get into when we're actually closer to play. But get ready for a much more wacky version of Star Wars than we've seen before, as our characters devolve into ass kicking.
Yes.
Perfect. Or evolve, really, depending on which way you want to look at it, I think.
The other thing is, we have announcements about what's coming up. Because we know. Oh, we know.
And I would say it's quite exciting. So if you can't stick around till the end of the session to find out, or whenever we choose to make these announcements, you can check out our Discord as well, where there will be information posted later. And great discussion. Yeah, boom. Thanks. There you go.
For what it's worth, if you want to go into an in-depth discussion as to my thoughts behind why we decided to end the campaign a bit earlier than anticipated, you can tune into the VOD for Thursday's episode of Clinic Hours. By the way, that's what we're calling RPG Clinic on Thursdays now, is Clinic Hours, because why name the show after the channel? And you can kind of go over more in depth why I specifically was experiencing a little bit of a struggle with the system. But while I struggled with the system, that doesn't necessarily mean that you will struggle with the system. It's clearly a very popular game line for good reasons, and it may go well with you. It just didn't gel well with us.
Yep.
Cool. All right, so I'll just carry this whole stream.
No.
See you later.
I said yep, and then I was like, did I interrupt you? Were you going to continue?
I didn't have anything else to say.
Yeah, so Erwin mentioned there's a bingo card to talk about that I'm very excited about since we
Oh my
never
God,
managed
yes.
to complete our first bingo card.
Oh wait,
and-
Trey's here.
But she asked you not to and you said you would.
That's
wouldn't.
true. But then she also flashed a green card.
There's potential zipper happenings. We request green card for
I mean,
proceeding.
And if not zipper happenings, it's gonna be dripping yogurt all over my face.
Wow.
Do you guys mind if I just turn off your video screen?
You,
No, I actually
you
don't
can
want
look
to.
away.
So we're just gonna look
Okay.
at ourselves for the rest of this.
Would that be so bad?
No.
Classic actor.
I know. I'm just kidding.
I'm also just gonna throw out there, Elizabeth's got a button that is
Oh
just
yes.
like amazing.
Which
The
one?
super shaper
There's a lot of
button.
buttons.
There's one
You
button
have a
that we
lot of
can
buttons
actually
on.
see and make out.
But this one is stands for the Super Shapers from the Slacks movie. Everyone in the cast and crew got one.
It's so
I
good.
So
I
charming.
felt so cool when I got this.
Yeah.
Killer
So
pants.
charming.
So let me kick this off then. While we're waiting for commentary to come in from the chat, you can ask whatever questions you might have for any of us about this campaign, or honestly, just anything. Just know that the announcements are coming later on in the stream, so you'll have to stay tuned for those. And obviously also one of the things that I first want to ask is, when we moved over to a new channel, to this channel, when we rebooted and rebranded and all of that, one of the things that we decided to do is to move to a seasons format. And that meant that we would be checking in with each other to see whether we wanted to renew a game after a certain number of episodes had passed, or whether we wanted to move on to a different game. And also then we'd be able to know that we were creating sort of a narrative arc that would begin and end at an appropriate time, so that then we could bring on new audience and they wouldn't have had to watch every other episode in order to catch up. So my question to you is, what would have happened in season 7 of Star Wars Reach if we had got there?
Okay.
Feena would have crowned herself, Lord Empress of the universe.
Oh dear.
No, wait, that's the wrong campaign. She definitely would still be out of money, and her robes would be the fanciest, and perhaps if they were still in the same old ship, there'd definitely be some gilded accoutrements in her quarters.
Yeah, I imagine a plot line through the majority of season 7, which is, and I may be referencing a certain television series that takes place around the mishaps around the wedding of Rigel, Marine, and 91B. And because the wedding is taking place on the Redshift Runner, which is super weird for a whole host of reasons, the
Get married
mishaps are
inside
around
me.
Yikes.
oh, for fuck's sake. I'm mostly kidding.
I like that. And
It'd
then
be pretty charming. Then Rigel's like, I can't go through with this. You're not a human.
the wedding is
You're not
crashed by like
Oh my
somebody that Melba got on the bad side of.
Nuvral.
Well, yeah, probably. She
Yeah.
spent 6 seasons running away from Nuvral.
And Captain
And
Belcar.
Nuvral just gets more powerful, like with cyber enhancements and stuff.
Oh shit.
I object to these nuptials.
Oh my god.
I love it.
There is a kitty. Well, there's actually multiple kitties.
There are 3
Yes.
kitties in that household.
Oh, Penguin
So many
Witch Doctor.
kitties. This is the only one in this room currently.
You have
But
so
the
many
others will come
kitties,
in.
and we have no kitties.
So on average, we have 1.5 kitties. The half kitty is like through a portal.
Right.
Who gets
Sort
the
of a
butt?
Schrodinger's cat kind of situation.
What about Melba? Where would she be in season 7?
Oh, I was just sort of adding on to Scott's idea.
Yeah.
Ah.
I think that through her various exploits, she will become a better bounty hunter, but she's not very good at playing the political game. So I think she made a lot of enemies on the rebel and imperial side.
Oh, so the one thing that the
like,
two of
it's
them
not
can
really
agree
safe
on is
for
to
her to
take
land
you
anywhere.
out. The one thing that the Empire and the Rebellion can agree on is to take you out.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
These peace talks.
And I'm everybody's enemy.
I call these peace talks to order. Top of the agenda. Melba Gravlack.
Look, you're allowed to use the second Death Star once.
I did target the red shift runner.
Oh my god.
This is an all points
My
bulletin for the
wife to
red
be.
shift runner. Damn it, Melba.
Yeah, and so Feena would like negotiate then like a ceasefire because of the wedding, right? You can't blow up the bride. That's just
We haven't even had the reception yet.
yeah.
Receive this. Yeet. Do, 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 do. Stupid.
So Kung Fu Fenris did ask,
Too.
way up top here, the specific question of, how did you feel about your characters? Was it a kind of role you would like to repeat experience being? Would you, what kind of role, was it a kind of role you would like to repeat experience being?
What? I understand what the question was. When it's read out loud, it breaks my brain. But I understand what the question was. I think it was neat playing Feena, being a listener and trying to quell the sass a little bit, and try to listen enough to what other people wanted and feed into that, rather than just being like, I want this. So that was new and different and fun.
Do you wanna? Oh, you're still. Sorry.
I liked a lot of things about Melba. I like that she didn't really take herself too seriously. And that, because that's a reminder to me, Liz, to not take things too seriously in games. And also that she failed a lot. And so that was also a fun challenge to just play somebody who was like, who failed more often than she succeeded. And there was something really like charming and challenging about that, which I enjoyed. And she loved her friends so much from the
Ripley.
beginning.
That's not
that
like
was
you.
fun.
I will actually. I think that's maybe slightly bigger conversation to touch on, but I do want to mention it. Like, I just want to highlight that, and I think it is something we should talk about. We started this season and this system knowing that the three of us were working together and friendly, if not like good friends already, which I think is nice. It's certainly certainly different from our previous games. I enjoyed playing Rigel. I think he's a super big weirdo. I think something I struggled with, which was a great learning experience for me as a player and as an actor as well, is having goals that aren't just immediately in front of me. Because like being reactionary, as like having a character who is reactionary is fun and it makes for good improv, right? Like you're listening to what's happening because that's what you're reacting to. But without knowing kind of where you want to take somebody, it kind of stunts the growth of the character a little bit. That's something I learned from playing Rigel.
Well, I absolutely should have been better about pushing for better goals.
Yeah, I'll just like sail around and take some contracts. Okay, sounds good. Like, we
That's
yeah,
cool. That's a job.
we like jobs.
Yeah.
Jorbs. Yeah.
Oh.
That's what I'm gonna say about that.
Crosshair asks, well, the system didn't meld. What part of the system worked? And do we think would be good for future games / system choices?
Oh. Sorry. I'm chewing.
I mean, it's not really the system, but it was definitely interesting, at least trying out a digital dice roller and resource tracking and all of that. So that was a different perspective. And because we're remote, it was kind of cool to be able to see their roles, even though we weren't in the same space. But in terms of the system itself, I'm gonna think a little bit if folks have other contributions.
I liked that you could buy different specializations, and the specialization gave you access to a new talent tree. So I thought that was really cool. It's like, oh, I'm learning a new occupation, and I have certain skills that go along with that. We didn't really get to, like, I had just bought a new specialization when we ended, so I would be interested to see where that goes.
Oh, okay.
I'm just imitating.
I think it was behind my computer screen, so I was like, what are you doing, John? Are you telling her to wrap up or something? That's rude.
Yeah, wrap it up, Neil.
Wrap it up 2 sentences in.
Wow.
Sorry.
Flashing the light at the back.
My sign for wrap it up is actually, I never actually tell anybody this because I assume that everybody knows, but obviously they don't. My sign for wrap it up is this.
Yeah.
Oh.
I've gotten one of those before. I don't remember in what context.
Which,
Wow! Sorry.
Lumos. Are you all right there?
Is she thinking about telling a young gent to wrap it up? Is that what's making her giggle? Because that's what's making me giggle now.
Hashtag job context.
What I was trying to say.
Am I lagging in terms of chat? No, it's there.
Yeah. I'm probably like...
No, this is... I picked this up back when I was being forced to participate on a debate team. And the sign for that they used in debate competitions for you have 15 seconds left is this, to sort of show this is how much time you have before I am going to cut you off. So I realized using this as a symbol, or the smaller one, is useless if I don't actually tell anybody what the fuck it means. So
it's
a
the
debate, what?
glare that goes along with it, John, I feel like really does a lot of the work for you, though. Like, you get it, you know?
The best thing is that somebody doesn't understand, so they stop what they're saying and go, "What are you doing?"
Yep.
And then you explain it, and then they're like, "Oh, okay," and then they finish their story. So it actually added like an extra 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
Totally.
This is so good.
Oh no!
So
Finish it.
I'll have to put it away.
So
No!
yeah, so that was Neil enjoyed the whole aspect of the system where it came down to being able to purchase multiple specializations. Now, a lot of the games that we play, there aren't really specializations at all, but it is one of the strengths I find compared. It's sort of like multi-classing in D&D.
Yeah.
But I find less clunky than multi-classing. And you can also multi-class and go back and forth, and it doesn't tell you can or you can't.
Yeah, well, with Exalted and Changeling thus far, we had charm trees. So, like, there's going deeper into, like, but you generally aren't limited from starting into any charm tree. And I guess that's a bit similar with arts in Changeling, where you could go into an art, but you aren't necessarily limited from going into any particular art, except for maybe certain ones, like Chronos used to be, but not anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scott?
I liked the ability of, you know what? Destiny points. I'm going to say that. I actually really liked the idea of having this, at least the idea of having this pool that was kind of shared between the sort of like antagonists and the protagonists.
Oh yeah.
And being able to say, well, like, I don't really want to spend the last light side point, but I really want, I'm really hoping to roll a triumph. Let's get another yellow die in there, you know?
Yeah.
Failed spectacularly.
Yeah.
It's strange because on the one hand, I feel like you as a group would work well with that kind of mechanic, but I do have some issues when it's a communal resource pool, because then let's say, for instance, that Kate's just like, every time that there's a light side point available, I spend it because I want my character to survive or win or succeed, therefore making it so that no one else can spend it. Or alternately that everybody's so polite that they're like, well, I don't want to spend one because other players might want to spend it either, and then nobody uses it.
Or never taking the last one, like, you know, the bowl of grapes.
Oh, no, I'm full. I couldn't take the last one. Yeah.
Do
But
it.
I think for certain gaming groups, it's really good. Like, I think for us, something like that works just fine.
Well,
Yeah.
If I can jump in, that actually reminds me of something that happened for a certain amount of time during Changeling the streaming, where we had our glamour pools, if not also our willpower, I can't remember, linked, and we
Right.
could potentially
yeah.
draw from other people, right?
And I don't think we ever did we?
I might have
I
once
think
or
a
something.
couple of times, but not many. Yeah.
And then they broke.
Yeah.
I don't remember what happened
know, we
exactly.
all-
It was
we
just
broke
like,
them, it
man,
was
fuck
so
it.
sad.
Like,
I broke them because it was only ever meant to be a temporary thing. I wanted to basically tempt you with the power of being able to pull from each other. But then it turned out that all of you just bought up so much fucking glamour and willpower that it didn't matter.
Yeah.
damn it.
I think maybe when you were trying to destroy a thing with your sword, you might have shared some of our glamour.
That sounds. Oh yeah, because it was like, guys, I need all your glamour, and I'm going to die to break whatever this thing was.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
The other thing about Destiny points that I find is that the game kind of encourages you to spend so that the other side can spend it, in which case it sort of feels like, well, then the only time that those Destiny points actually matter is when they're all used up one way or the other.
Yeah.
Because otherwise they don't matter
Yeah.
at all. You just might as well spend them all the time. So as a mechanic, I think that it's an interesting one, but I believe that it's more designed to show I'm serious about this. It's a declaration as opposed to like a game mechanic. It's a story mechanic, which is what I find interesting about that one.
Yeah, 100%. That's something I also just like as a player, the anticipation of rolling something at the beginning of the session is really fun. To be like, what's our session today gonna feel like? And
Oh,
it's 4
terrible.
dark side points, you know, or whatever it is, right? Like that doesn't necessarily mean it doesn't necessarily mean it was like great for our group for a variety of reasons. I just thought it was kind of fun to be like, I sure hope we get a light side point today.
Yeah,
You know, it's kind of fun.
It's a way of uniting the group right away.
Right.
I'll say that our introduction of info boxes was something that I really liked about this season. And while I wasn't as much of a fan of the dice roller, which I still think was super cool, the issue is that the platform that we built it on was unreliable for a large period of time.
They hit version 1.0 during session 0 or session 1 for us.
Yeah.
Like, they had a relatively stable build, and then they pushed it way better. But then, like, for the next 3 weeks, they were swatting some major bugs, and they kept pushing new things. Like, and Sunday nights tended to be when they'd push them. So it was like, yes. Oh, they're updating in the background.
Yeah, and they had an overload of players.
Yeah.
So that was a bit frustrating. But the info boxes I find are really interesting, just to be able to push information out for people who may not or may need some reminding of what has happened in the past. So that is really cool. Which obviously that's something that I'm hoping that we get to keep around for a little bit. Obviously, one of the things that I'd say is, chat, if there's anything that happened in this season that you really enjoyed, or anything that you wish that we could improve upon, we absolutely want to know. And we especially want to know in the transition between this season and the next, because this is when we can actually make modifications to things like our tech, our stream capabilities. If we get 90 people telling us that they're absolutely desperate to see dice rolling on screen from now until doomsday, and if we stop showing it, then they'll find us and squirt lemon juice in our eyes. I'd rather know now than post lemon juice screaming.
Yes. And on that front, if you have thoughts and feelings, I'd really appreciate if you get those out there in the next few days, the next week, because some of this tech takes time to set up. So if there's something that you want to keep or change or adjust, all of that is super welcome. But like building info boxes takes time to programming, copy paste and shit. So yeah, Doing good.
Not to mention, we
Welcome.
have a survey about our website,
Yes.
which you can find on the Discord that we would absolutely adore. If somebody could post the link to that in the chat right now, that would really appreciate it. Just because it is something that we are looking into. Our website is, we want to know what people want and what people might be missing and what people use it for. So it's only 4 questions. It takes less than a minute to answer. It would be super helpful if you could, if you haven't already.
Yeah, and even if you didn't catch this season, what you've used the website for recently or in the past or whatever, if at all. Even if your answer is, I have never used the website, I believe that's an option. And it's good information for us. So.
Yeah.
I'll just answer one more thing that I liked about this system specifically, which is that this system treats the concept of narrative choice differently than storyteller system games. And it was something that I was discussing earlier with Pukajutsu actually on his channel. This game gives players more tools to affect the narrative outcome. And I think that for some groups, this is an amazing thing to do. It is absolutely a great thing, especially if you have a GM who is more hesitant, who doesn't want to commit to things, or who doesn't have as much of a sense of narrative pacing and structure. Unfortunately, for me, I prefer to make my own choices as to when things like twists and turns come up. I prefer to, if a player makes a roll to determine an outcome, I prefer to give the player that moment of surprise and joy when I describe what happens as a result, as opposed to the player describing the result. So Star Wars encourages you very much to be like, so I shoot at my enemy, and then it also manages to fuse the door locks shut so reinforcements can't get in. Whereas I would prefer that the player doesn't necessarily have that much determination over the outcome of a single roll. It's a difference in storytelling style. It is not, I don't actually believe that one is better than the other. I think that player-driven narrative is much more popular than it was even a few years ago. And if it's the kind of thing that you love about the system, you should absolutely go into that. It's just not what I like to do. And I realize that just makes it sound like I'm just like, yeah, I want my control. I want to see what happens.
Phenomenal cosmic power.
But John, I think you make a really good point, because if I may, just kind of coming at it from a different direction, the idea of having a die face that says, yes, this is a success, but it's also something really good. The idea that the game, or rather that fate or randomness, can tell you when something that you've done happens to succeed really well. I think that will gel with some people, right? The idea of kind of the randomization of success or failure, as we do kind of do in games, right? There's a bit of randomization that we do, but yeah, I don't think it gels for us in particular, because it's kind of more fun to get a payoff for doing something really cool than it is to just be like, well, I shot him. Oh my God, like 2 triumph. I guess I shot him real good. I didn't know,
Right.
I can see it working really well for maybe there's a group of people where somebody reluctantly took on the role of GM. And they're down to create antagonists and create rival ships and settings and stuff, but maybe they're not really keen on dice resolving. And in that case, it becomes a much more collaborative experience, because someone rolls, they have advantage, they have triumph, and then the whole team can work together to figure it out. So it becomes almost like good society, in the sense that everybody's like contributing to this novel, this encounter.
Yeah.
I think that type of gaming group would really enjoy this system, because there's a lot of potential for that type of collaboration.
That's kind of the difference between you focusing on your character's story and then you focusing on the story as a whole.
Yeah.
Right? And the games that we've run in the past, the players have been tasked with bringing forth their characters' stories to life. And for that to be their contribution. Whereas in a game like Star Wars, the players are asked to think more about the whole universe story, the whole narrative, which is, yeah, like if you're a storyteller who does not want to have that much control, this is perfect. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was said while I was maybe out of earshot, but one other thing was I like the base idea that everyone's kind of able to be at an okay level for everything. As far as a few extra dice doesn't necessarily make you so much more powerful at a thing, but in practice it did mean that having specialized didn't have as much payout. So I would love something that's a bit in the middle on those grounds, where like your likelihood to fail at everything isn't super high when you don't have much invested. But yeah, so yeah, I don't know, something there.
No, super. Yeah, Kate, I totally agree.
Obligation as a mechanic, I know is somewhat kind of tricky. I love the idea that players get into, you know, debt or trouble or whatever, and that they have to work their way out of it. The way that the system activated, though, I realized meant if I wanted to bring up somebody's obligation, I had to wait until the dice said it was okay for me to do so.
Yeah.
If I wanted to play in the spirit of the rule. And eventually, because the first, 4 sessions, your obligations never triggered.
Yeah.
And even though you had an over 50% chance of it triggering.
Yeah.
So it ended up just being a sheer source of like, I just want to bring in a bounty hunter to make Melba feel weird. And
mission accomplished.
Yeah. Or like, oh, we're on Nar Shaddaa. Wouldn't that be a perfect time for a Feena to want to buy all the things, right?
Yeah.
Like Gambling Town, full of crap. Yeah.
Let's scroll back up, link some questions.
Ooh, I
We
like
should have set up
Zesty's
feature
question.
chat. Okay, we'll do that one next. Why don't you read it out?
What did you feel individually was the biggest cause of disconnect for you on the narrative? So I'm going to take that to mean what made it hardest, like what did I as a player and subsequently like John as a GM and everything find tricky about moving the story forward. For me, there's a big one, and that is that I don't know Star Wars well enough to be able to speak about it the way Melba would be able to speak about it. In Exaltwitch, Rey had never really ventured outside of Nexus, so it didn't matter that I didn't know creation super well because we were discovering it and I was discovering it too. Changeling, it's Montreal. I know my city, easy. But then this, I was like, Melba's been a bounty hunter been trying for like several years now, and I just don't know nearly enough about locations. So I think that really kept me from taking risks and from speaking about things with the same authority that I think she would have. So that was a big challenge for me.
I'm gonna shamelessly steal something Liz said, actually, not today, but another time,
Whoa.
because I do think it's super applicable. In Star Wars canon, people don't sit around planning too much unless they're planning a big assault on like a Death Star. People are very quick on their feet because it's action all the time. And I've realized I like a little bit of planning, whether it be tactical or whether it just be an excuse for a fun scene with PCs and an NPC. I like a bit of that downtime. We don't get any in Star Wars, really. Again, like you can adapt it. I know we can adapt it, but it felt weird. Not weird, but I found it hard to connect to the idea of being like a pilot who was like, before we take off, let me just think about what we're gonna do. You know, you gotta fucking jam it and go for it. But that's
Punch it, Chewie.
Yeah.
Punch it, Chewie. Yeah, exactly. It's a good maneuver.
Yeah.
Action. Maneuver.
Yeah, and like I was like, oh yeah, I can be like a political player and like a trade deal negotiator, and then I was like, none of this actually makes sense in this universe. Like the politics at this point, like if we were in the prequel era, it might have worked a bit more because there was the Republic, but because we're after like after episode 4, like the politics that exist is basically, are you going to think that the Empire is going to like come back into power, or the rebels are going to win. Like, so I think that I set myself up for a niche that, and very quickly I realized, like, no, this isn't going to work narratively, and didn't necessarily find a good task. As much as I used her skills effectively in the scenarios that we encountered, it wasn't a good narrative push for me, for my character. So yeah.
John, do you mind if we take more
I know
questions?
this isn't
Oh, yeah,
quite what you asked, but I do have my own answer. Oh, this is a 720p.
Is it?
Yeah, it looks like it. Because
Okay, well, we'll build
Yeah,
the
we'll
next
fix
one
that, yeah.
properly,
What's
but like
a
I don't think so.
720p? DuckTales. What?
featured
What?
chat should be enabled now.
Oh, thanks, Aragwen.
Ergwin. I know that isn't quite what you were asking, but I'm going to say that there is one thing that I did realize that here,
We can
let's
just slide that
yeah, we're
horizontally.
gonna do this, and we're gonna move it over
£7,
here. like
20
that.
Can slide right into the chat.
There we go.
I should start thinking.
And that
about
is,
this question.
it turns out that in Star Wars, players had to manage 4 different sets of dice. They also had to 6. Sorry, not 4, 6. What they also had to do is they had to wait. So there was first assemble my pool, then get the difficulty, which is assemble a different pool. Then if I changed anything by spending a destiny point or assigning boosts or setback dice, they'd have to assemble those dice. Then they'd have to choose if they wanted to spend a destiny point. Then they could roll and then get the results. So it meant that every time that a roll was asked for, instead of it just being, all right, I collect this number of dice, it was, okay, I have to do this, then this, then this, then this, then this. And while it's clean and convenient when it's a single roll, and it can work out quite well, that I felt was a big pull from any narrative moment, was just having to figure out the dice to get it going. And I know that that seems like such a minor thing, but when you're only playing for 3 hours at a shot, and when we do as much as we can to focus on story, it ends up becoming a little bit more of a problem.
Yeah. I think something you've said sorry, just to jump in there, John, like something you've said on a lot of clinic hours, and I think that we've always said is like, mechanics should serve story. I mean, obviously play the game you want to play, but if we're doing a storytelling game where we're telling a story, mechanics should serve it rather than detract from it, right? And that's why the orichalcum rule exists, and right, it's because you should do what you want to have the best experience. In my opinion.
Crosshair says, after listening, I think that was what was bothering me during the game. The system didn't let John. It's like having
John.
Spielberg as the director, but then let his 5-year-old daughter make the choices on where to lead the story.
That way.
Shit.
Okay. Shit.
Can we bring back up Lemon Eater's
Sure.
Yes.
Since, someone else is on. Nope.
thing?
Requiem and
Because
Lemon
we
Eater.
didn't get a chance to...
I can read it if you want.
Yeah.
Here, I can hit
Yep,
that
there it is.
plus and then do the
And it's up.
thing. Yeah, I was
So-
just here to be able to see what was up.
What backstory element did you keep in your back pocket but hadn't come out in game yet? Or what would you have added in hindsight? That's a great question.
Yeah.
Lemon Eater for the win.
Yeah.
Did anyone have any particular, I guess I'm addressing the PCs. Did anyone have any particular character hooks that didn't come up or hadn't yet come up?
I know I had mentioned this, but Melba has a very extensive family. I had named them all. It was all in a Google Doc, and I was waiting for the episode where we would go to visit them, and it would be called Meet the Gravlaxes, and John would have to be all of them, and I was so excited.
I'd
So
have to
that's
pull in
something.
Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, basically.
Or Michael J. Fox.
Or Michael J. Fox. That's a better... I'll
And,
take that example more.
yeah.
Yes.
So that was
That's really fun.
Yeah, I'm sorry we never got a chance to meet the Gravlaxes.
It's okay.
That'll be
imagine.
one of our April Fools.
Meet the Gravlax. Oh, because then we could play Gravlaxes too.
Yeah, just everyone's Gravlaxes.
Oh, that'd be great. It'll be like the holiday special with Chewie, except it's Melba and the Gravlaxes.
Oh, hey there. Hi, how you doing? How's it going?
Oh, how you doing there? Celebrating Life Day with us, eh?
Life Day! I think actually, I guess maybe I'm not sad to say this necessarily, but like I think all of the things I established for Rigel have come up in the game, which is a little crazy considering we only played 9 sessions.
That's okay.
Like I know where I came from. I guess I didn't really establish too much for myself about my family. I established something about my upbringing. And Tinian was the one character that I established as like a firm sort of, this is an ex-associate who gave me the redshift runner to get the heat off, you know? And we didn't get a chance. We met Tinian, and we went to go look for Tinian as well. So I suppose...
You heard from Tinian.
Yeah.
We did hear
Good
from
enough.
Tinian. I actually can't think of like anything that I was like, oh man, I hope this comes up. You know?
You really
Subsequent
wanted to
seasons
bone your
would've been
ship.
like,
You really wanted to bone your ship.
Correct. No. I did. I mean, that was a major hook for Rigel was what's up with the redshift runner.
What about you?
That's part of perhaps the struggle was that I knew where I came from, and I kind of had an eventual goal for her, but like anything in between was completely just open to whatever was gonna happen. And to some extent, there's freedom to do that in the first few sessions, especially like with our first 3 sessions, you can slightly rebuild the characters. But after that, I should have picked something to like focus on and work on. I did not. But now it's over, so I don't have
and
to.
I didn't push. Should have pushed.
Wow.
Requiem says, not sure if this was already asked, but I do love to know, what was your inspiration for your characters? For me, pick a PC and what their inspiration.
Like an NPC, presume?
I assume
NPC.
that, I assume that you mean an NPC.
Yeah.
I'll go. I was inspired by Benicio del Toro's character from The Last Jedi, DJ, because I figured I wanted to play a pilot and a smuggler, but I did not want to play Han Solo. So what was the...
And yes, NC.
Requiem is trying so hard.
One more time, Requiem. You got
boy.
it. You're so close.
Jeez Louise.
Damn it.
It's gone. But I wanted to... We love you all the same.
I have days like that. Don't worry.
Oh, Requiem.
Okay, MDK, I also want to say is MDR, which is like Mère de Rire, but I don't even know what MDK is supposed to be.
I'm not even sure. This is
Fantastic.
MDK was a video game in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
This is akin to Happy Cthulhu waving
waving his
the
testicles
tentacles.
everywhere. Yeah, that was
Cool.
amazing. was good
Iconic.
times.
Iconic.
Murder, death,
That's me.
kill.
Kate?
I think Liz had goals that she was excited to talk about.
Scorpia from She-Ra was
Oh!
my primary inspiration for Melba Crablax.
It's a good, strong choice.
Yeah.
It was more character traits than like a person or character that I was off of. It was trying to, listen and work off of what I heard rather than just do the thing. Rather than just instinct all the time. It was only instinct some of the time.
Some of the time.
Yeah.
Hey, do you remember when you told the bounty hunter or whoever to go fetch?
Fetch. Yeah.
So good. I'm sorry, just speaking of instinct. It's a good instinct. It's
Yeah,
really
that was a Kate coming out.
fun. Love it. That's me.
Okay, so this is going to be a little more obscure, and it also I'm going to get in a lot of trouble when I mention it. For Nouvral, because here's the thing: when I say take inspiration, I take like very specific chunks of things. I think we all do. So the reason why sometimes I hesitate to answer this question is because I don't want you to think, oh, you were just trying to copy this character.
Yeah.
Like, just taking elements. There were elements of Nouvral that you could find in the character of Molotov Cocktease from the Venture Brothers.
Oh shit!
Which is part of the reason why I mean, why I chose that specific voice for the character, but also specifically the idea of somebody who was a mercenary and very happy to be a mercenary, and sort of viewed her entire world around the idea that she was free to do as she wanted, and she wasn't willing to compromise anything that would have compromised her own self. She put herself number one, because I got the impression that Melba wasn't necessarily going to put herself as number one all the time, and I wanted to provide contrast with that.
Ooh.
No, definitely did not steal her wardrobe. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
What game mechanic do I want to steal for a future game? I don't think any.
I have one, at least the baseline concept of, which is with this system, when you get to the maximum of your wounds, you don't die, like in, you know, D&D, where you're at 1 hit point, you're okay, and you're, you know, 0 and you're in trouble, sort of thing. Like you're a-okay and then down. Like then this, you get knocked out and then you get like critical wounds. And I think there's something interesting to that, but I also think that at least in this configuration and the way we were playing, it felt like we would never ever be at risk of death. So the stakes might never get high enough, but we won't know. We didn't play through. But I do think that there's something, because in that situation of, like, with Exalted, there was in the book the whole, you could like take a dire wound, like lose an arm or an eye or whatever, to not die. I feel like,
Yeah, what chump does that?
Just
so
touching my face.
I feel like also this idea of critical wounds and stuff, it's an interesting mechanic that I think maybe could be explored further and applied in an interesting way.
You know, I'm gonna say that you're right. I find that the critical wound system is really interesting. My issue with it is that a 150 table, it's more of like a 20 table, but there are too many entries, and the thing is, some critical wounds, like, you could roll and be like, oh, it's nothing, and then if you happen to roll high, it was like, oh, I'm in a lot of trouble. But I do think that the critical wounds idea is great, because it also means that players can start judging for themselves when the risk of their death is higher. Like, do I, knowing that I have 4 critical wounds on me, and that makes it more likely that I'll get a bad result, do I move forward? Or I don't have any critical wounds, and yeah, I might roll badly, but like, I should be okay. Like, that's an interesting sort of play, because I find that players want to risk death, but sometimes there's that kind of, I like the interplay of, do I risk something knowing that I could die or not? And this sort of gives you the opportunity to risk something serious without having to be like, well, it's impossible for me to at least die right here.
Whereas I would say, by contrast, and I don't think it's necessarily bad, but by contrast, in Exalted and in Changeling, having wound trackers means that, at least for me, once you get down towards the bottom of your health track, things are serious, and you have to start to think more strategically about, it's not about risk necessarily, because you're at a huge penalty to all your rolls.
Yeah.
You know, you have to like get to safety.
I kind of like the idea, though, that you're like, oh, I don't have to care until I'm really hurt. Then I have to care.
I mean, while I was playing the systems, I was like,
Oh,
oh god, I'm
maybe.
already at -1. I don't want to do anything. This sucks.
I loved, okay, so there were 2 things, one that was from the system and one that was from our Star Wars Reach campaign. So the one from the campaign is the going around the circle and saying what you liked that somebody else did.
Yeah.
I really love that, and I think we should continue. And the
Stealing
other
it.
one is, I know none of us are really a fan of like the resource management and the currency keeping track of, but I did enjoy the shopping aspect of this. Changeling, I realized we didn't have any look through the book for cool artifacts and then make a case to John about why you think your character should have that. And we did have that in Exalted, and I realized I kind of missed that. It was cool to go, what kind of weapon would my character have? And
Because you can buy stuff.
and because you can buy stuff. So, and like plan for wanting cybernetic enhancements later on and stuff like that. So that was, I was planning in that regard.
Yeah.
Because in Changeling you can't buy merits, but in Exalted you can.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
So that I think it's another aspect of what can I spend, and experience is just one kind of currency, if you look at it that way. So yeah, that makes a good point.
Yeah, and I
True,
guess
right, you
maybe
can't
that's
buy
something
magic.
that we could remember for future systems is like if there's better armor and stuff, actually bother with it, because that is a thing that did exist in Changeling. Like we could have gotten decent armor and we never used the armor that we did have, sort of thing. So I think that maybe that's something to remember in whatever systems we go to later on.
Just got
Yeah.
damaged. And
Sometimes as a storyteller
Get a
you're
bag of holding.
surprised. Sometimes you're surprised at what your players are super into, and you'll be like, I'm gonna give you this most precious thing, and they're like, cool. And they're like, it's sort of like, you know, you get your cat like this wonderful present and they really only give a shit about the box it came in.
100%.
Sometimes being a storyteller, that's exactly what happens. You're like, here, look at this precious thing, and they're like, woo! They run off in another direction.
You're like, but I want to talk to the NPC
we're
who
like
gave
small
it to me.
children
You're like, I don't care. Who is this?
Yeah.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
What's next? What other questions can we answer?
Crosshair had one for
Well,
quite
we
a
got
bit further up
Wrench
now.
coming up instead.
Oops.
Sorry.
Because we're talking other
Okay.
systems here, which is cool.
I was thinking about whether obligation could work better as a pool that's constantly building, but either the GM or players can choose to spend points out of it to create complications, less random, but keep the looming disaster. So, quite possibly, yes. My feeling is I just prefer to pick when I want to do it, and to judge. So that's me saying I want my narrative control, whereas I believe that the obligation system that you've proposed still absolutely works, and I think is probably better than the obligation system as it exists now, but still is one that cedes control, which is not something that I would prefer personally. Any feedback from the rest of you? Nope.
On the game?
Nope. Crosshair's questions.
So the Crosshair, how do you feel future sci-fi setting instead of the previous fantasy modern setting? Want to come back to blasters and spaceships, or do you prefer swords and beasties?
Oh man, that's such a good question. Setting is so funny. I feel like I don't know. For me, I feel like setting is always exciting because it's always something that's outside the realm of experience of the world that you live in. I mean, sorry, most of the time. Otherwise, it wouldn't be an adventure. But it's like, for me, it really just turns on a dime. One day I'll be like, oh, blasters, and the next day I'm like, meh, I got a lightsaber, I guess. Like, it just depends where I'm at that day on engaging with the stuff of it. And art.
Liz, you're leaning off screen, I'm afraid.
Cool.
Yeah, in our, because we have to do this a bit tall bit.
You know, things like art and introducing new locations and new stuff and new people obviously helps to keep me excited about what the setting can provide, you know? That's what I would say.
I would be down to do more sci-fi. Just going back to what I said before, though, it needs to be a world that I'm like more familiar with. So either one that we've completely created ourselves, or a world that I already know. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Dune. No, I'm just kidding. Jesus Christ.
As much as we like to say that, you know, we will create our own version of things and we don't care what other people say, it's intimidating sometimes to play in a setting that everybody is incredibly familiar with that we are not necessarily. And it's because while we say like, yeah, we'll create the rules that we want, we'll play the universe that we want, there is still, you don't want to have that moment where you're like, okay, well then I'll go over there and I'll wrap the hut up in a really big hug and squeeze and they're like, so are your arms 4 meters long? And you're like, no. And then you feel stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, I think to echo what's been said, I'm into the idea of like blasters and spaceships and like that sort of like future-y setting. I'm open to it, but yeah, it's so interesting because going into it we were so thrilled about the idea of playing Star Wars because we're like, we love Star Wars, it's fun, it's great, but Yeah, it's wanting to either be, okay, we're in Montreal, but 100 years in the future, but we get to make up what that looks like, or 1,000 years in the past, Earth, that's also fine, we can make it up, or just a system that's like, cool, you're in an imaginary world that you build yourself. And so that we get to sort of do the lore rules like we did in Exalted or even in Changeling, where we're like, oh yeah, there's totally this thing that exists.
Yeah.
And we make it into our world.
Imagine if we played Good Society, and every time we said anything that was even the slightest bit anachronistic, somebody was like, and you'll understand why it sometimes can be difficult to play in the Star Wars universe, because while people are generally just like, whatever, it's a Jane Austen-esque, who cares? But if it's something that they really love and really care about, they go for the throat. Look, Star Wars fans go for the throat on official Star Wars things.
Yeah, truth.
Like the number of times that I've seen people call for Kathleen Kennedy's head. And it's like, you understand that she's responsible for everything you love about Star Wars too, right?
She does all of it. Like the good and the bad and the in-between and the stuff you don't care about.
But there isn't a part of Star Wars that she isn't at least tangentially involved in. So what the... essentially there's that.
Yeah.
I like sci-fi. I think that this has sort of trained me to know that at least, hey, rock pants. I think it's sort of I've learned that with this group of players in this environment, we need to be more secure in the environment that we're playing in terms of the setting. If we weren't streaming this, it would be easier to run Star Wars because then who cares?
Yeah.
And it isn't necessarily because our community was being jerks. You weren't. You never were.
No.
But it's still intimidating when you're doing it in front of an audience compared to doing it by yourself. It's the same reason why it's sometimes difficult to consider certain games, because we also realize that if we're doing it in our own living room, whatever, we can make mistakes, we can try things. But if we're doing it in front of an audience, you make a mistake and somebody could get hurt or really offended or whatever. It just changes things. But I don't think that this is the end of the idea of using a science fiction setting. Not at all. It just probably isn't going to be Star Wars.
Sorry. Yeah, especially since there will be, at the current plan with RPGClinic is to do one-shots between seasons of shows, which may or may not be, as we've discussed before, which may or may not be, renewed versions of previous seasons, right? And that lets us explore more settings, if only for a few hours, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah. You can throw that back up there, Erwin.
Yeah, I was just like, don't put it away, we're almost there. But
yeah. I believe the question was, why did I blow up the huts?
Or why were they blown up in canon? Like, I think, why did they die?
Go with Star Trek and say the fan base is small and generally uncommitted.
Yeah, totally.
That's the one I was going to quote as like, I would not want to play in this universe for that reason. I would be scared.
Yeah.
I actually love Star Trek quite a bit.
Yeah.
But I find that Star Trek is much more cerebral and much more about writing. And the thing is, there are certain things that people love about Star Trek that just don't do well with improv. Things like any mechanical failure that happens. Writers literally in the script, they would put technobabble in square brackets. And they would just, because they were like, we don't actually care we care that something has gone wrong, but we can't describe what. But the fantasy of enacting that in a role-playing game is a lot harder to be like, oh, well, why is the warp system down? Well, it's because the dilithium chamber has depolarized. Like, you can make that up, because I've watched a lot of Star Trek, but it'd be really inconsiderate of me to be like, so, Liz.
Scramble the harmonics.
Fuck, well, that works.
Thanks,
okay.
Rock Bands.
Shit.
Nailed it.
Yeah, I would always just be like, use the main deflector dish. I've watched a lot of Star Trek.
Fuck,
like,
yes.
a lot. John's probably watched more than me, but I think I've probably watched more than the other two.
You've actually watched... I think that I got into Star Trek deeper than you, but you're more horizontal because you've actually
I've
watched some of like Enterprise and Discovery.
everything
You've
except
watched
for
one
like
episode.
the
You've
TOS.
watched more than I have.
Yeah.
So.
Truth.
Yeah.
I'd probably say
So the
Jonathan's
question,
the
why did I blow up?
couldn't.
Why did I blow up the huts? Very simply
it's not a joke.
because the players didn't care enough about the huts. From my
Wow.
perspective, the huts
Straight
are
up.
supposed to be like if you're dealing with a hut, it's supposed to be a big deal because they will screw you over and the like. And there was this sort of feeling of, yeah, we'll play fast and loose with these Huts shipments. And I was like, okay, well, I really want to punish them, but not episode 2. And I let it get out of control. I blew them up because I realized that I wanted to set something up for later. That I was essentially trying to create a moment where it was like, okay, so you have made these choices and I will punish you for them later, but I don't want to punish you for them now because we've only just started. And that was probably the bad call.
I literally picture you being like, this isn't working. Smash. Like,
Basically.
John has a bunch of little models.
That's at all what you were doing,
No.
but
Model
I mean, I'm
Rigel.
not,
Yeah.
like,
Feena.
I've spoken about an RPG Clinic. I had fun playing because I love playing with these players and I love this community and it's really enjoyable, but this game I struggled. So, you know, I made a couple of calls that may not have been the best ones. Bingo's earned. Player shoots first. John breaks John. Player drinks the last drop. Changeling reference. Destiny point used by player. Okay. Number 2, John breaks John. Obligation triggers. John asks for risky confirmation. Bits during game and hashtag LizFace.
Can we? Sorry.
Where
to
is this?
This is
It's
in.
on screen. You can't see it. It's a.
Oh,
it was
okay.
in
I thought
chat.
it was bingo. Can we
Or
get
no,
bingo?
it's not in chat. It was no. It's
Yeah,
she's
it's on
manually
screen.
putting it in.
yeah.
And number 3, Dice Triumph. Hashtag LizFace. Hashtag half a second.
Guess
Drinks
the
are refreshed. Skill assistance from another player.
Scott and Liz, you can go to featured.chat, one of you, because you're moderators of the channel. So you should be able to see the
I may
feed.
have to add them
Okay.
specifically.
Hey, thanks.
Other bingo
Thank you,
squares
goodness.
marked. Someone hides in a smuggling compartment. Exalt reference. Rigel adjusts his clothing, which I assume is a reference to the Picard maneuver. Destiny point used by John. Punch it. Hashtag Jot and fight.
Yeah, sure.
Whee!
I
Here, I will-
accept.
Well, they have to.
Sure.
This is for your channel though.
I have to add them as a.
Am I?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
in.
you are.
You're in. You just have to log in using either one of your Twitches.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
so
then on
now
the
we go
left,
to John, RPG.
hamburger.
Oh, can we?
It'll have RPG Clinic dashboard.
The official kill count for the whole game is Rigel 1, Feena 1, Melba 0, and me approximately 108 to 289, depending on how many club
I thought
patrons
Melba
died.
killed someone. Didn't she?
I was relatively sure that Melba did kill somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well.
I'm not gonna touch anything.
To be fair, you also ended up being responsible for the death of Angus.
Correct. Yes.
Angus.
Yeah.
He's
While
dead?
you did not kill him. Oh, yeah.
Oh, for sure.
I don't know. Oh
Yeah,
no, that's
he-
right. The person who wanted the bounty was like, well, if you don't have the money, that's right. I remember
Yes.
this now.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, do you want to leave it open just in case we? No, it's okay.
Okay.
I will own being a Trekkie rather than a Star Wars fan, mostly because it feels like optimistic kid versus angsty teenager.
Oh, there was stuff in there.
For me, the real answer is that Star Trek is based on like the best Star Trek episodes tend to be based more on philosophy than they do tend on action. Although there are a bunch of really great action sequences in Star Trek, it's really a show that's more hard sci-fi as opposed to space opera. So it's a different genre. It appeals to different people. Like the watching a starship captain figure out a mystery and then do skillful negotiations to outwit an enemy isn't very Star Wars. Star Wars is punch it, Chewie. Is 3 players enough? Does it ever feel like not quite enough? I want everyone else's opinion first, and I want to start with Kate because we're always going in the same order.
I think it's great. I've played in games with 4 players, 5, 6, 7. When it's too many players, no one gets time to really shine, or certain personalities end up filling the room, and people end up sort of contributing, supporting, which is okay, but I find that especially when it comes to a streamed show, I don't think it's interesting to watch someone who's sitting there and just politely doing nothing for 3 hours, except for the one time they're like, oh, it's my turn? Okay, well, I will prepare my spell. And then by the time their round comes around again, the bad guy's dead. So I'm enjoying the 3, personally.
3 players? What do you think?
I think 3 players is really 3 and 4 are really good for streaming. I personally enjoy more off stream, but I completely understand that is a huge ask for a GM. So like, I'm totally fine with smaller groups.
Yeah, I think when there's been 5 of us for one shots in the past, it's been really cool to have like, extra voice at the table. But yeah, for every it's exponential, right? For every extra PC or person at the table, there's like exponentially less time for each person individually, which over 300 hours, maybe not.
Yeah.
Or like Kate said, I think you're probably right, Kate, that certain voices just end up naturally taking more space than others, and then it becomes a thing.
3 players? 3 players are too many.
Oh my god, no!
Finally, I can play the game.
John, no!
Oh,
That's nice, Alfarius.
So there is something that I will point out, which is that there is an old narrative trick, which is that an odd number of people pushes stories forward. If you have an even number of people, you risk having a divide where half and half do want something, and then you reach a stalemate because 2 people want something and 2 people don't, and then they can't move forward until someone has changed their mind or they split. When you have 3 people, then if 2 people decide one thing and one person decides another, sure, that one person can go off, but it's a little bit easier to be like 2 against 1, you're overruled, let's go. It's amazing how often that actually can come up. It is a tiny trick that I use. I like 3. I think 3 works out quite well. It's a number that I'm used to. I also think that 4 has its place. More than 4, streaming becomes difficult, specifically because it's hard to just cram all those people on the screen at once.
And scheduling.
Yes.
Yeah.
Specifically,
the stage manager speaks.
No, but actually that just started occurring to me is that specifically if we want to stream at the same time every week without fail, the more people you have, the more likely you're going to constantly have sessions missing someone. I think it's rare to find the people that all are willing to make the same commitment to the same time. So I'm very thankful for what we have going here.
But here's the other thing that I'll say. Liz mentioned when it's off camera, more can be better.
Yeah.
One of my favorite kinds of games to run are live action games. And in live action games, I don't mind having many players. I love having like 25 players in a live action game. Obviously at that point, then I would hope that I would have some help to run the story, either through narrators or co-GMs or whatever. But then players can make their own fun more easily because they can seek each other out to create role-playing experiences. Whereas at a table, if you've got 6 players and 1 GM sitting at a table, you start finding that some players are then, instead of wanting to appreciate the whole story, they're waiting for their next turn. And I want, for 3 people, I'm invested in all 3 of their stories. That's what I want. But if I have players, I want them to be invested in each other as well, right? Like when Feena does something, I want Scott and Liz to care. But when you're trying to care, when there's 6 people at a table, it becomes a little harder for you to care about everybody, because you start thinking about when's the next time that you get to care about yourself. So that's sort of where it ends up. Now, that's not any way of me saying that this is the way that you should play. There's only one game that I know of that very specifically is built around a number of players, and that's D&D. D&D, well, Pathfinder, I guess, as well, but D&D is very specific about how it is designed for 4 players and 1 dungeon master. You can go up to 5 and still not mess up the math too badly, but they've mathed it out so that 4 players is the number, which means that if you have fewer players, then you're in trouble. Although the most recent release, Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, has now added rules so that you can bulk out a party using sidekicks. But anyway, that's just me going into too much detail for today, where I should be discussing that on clinic hours.
Yeah. Party sizes. Yeah.
I have to
Sounds
go and
fun.
check something.
Okay.
I'm getting a message flashing up here, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you answer the "What did you
I'm
learn?"
gonna mute
question.
you.
Sucker.
Sorry, I muted you. Jim.
Damn.
Suckers. He ended with suckers. What did we learn? Asks Crosshair.
I learned that even when presented with so in Star Wars you're presented with the rebels and the Imperials, and it's sort of implied that you should take a side. And I did not want to. I wanted to challenge myself to play somebody who wasn't invested in either side of the conflict, who was just trying to survive. But what I failed to do is then create a really strong allegiance for myself.
Mhm.
I was like, oh, what I'm trying to do is survive and become the best bounty hunter. Cool, but like that wasn't enough. So I think what I'm learning is if I decide that I don't want to go down a path, I need to have an equally strong counter proposal for
Similar.
it.
Yeah, the goal can't be don't leave, right?
Yeah, the goal can't be I don't
Or-
want to do that. Like,
don't
wanna-
what
yeah.
do you want to do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to leave. Okay, go ahead. You know, it's or whatever it is, right? Yeah, I think similarly, like I learned that for a streamed role-playing game, character is not just a collection of character traits. it is
Yeah.
also a history and a presumed future. Whether or not that future like I mean the drama is from watching whether that person is able to achieve the future that they want, or that they discover a new one that they enjoy more or less, right? I think that's what I've really enjoyed about our games in the past on this channel, is having enough, space and time to really explore how someone progresses and evolves over time, and then to see whether they like where they've ended up, whether it
Yeah.
matches what they thought or not, as well.
Because that's something like with Valeria in Exalt, which I had such a clear goal from the very beginning. In character, the world is sick,
Damn.
it needs healing, and out of character, I want to figure out how a person becomes like a tyrant or that kind of character. Like, what is the path that leads them there? And that was my goal going into it. So I really had strong push behind her. With Patches, I had smaller scale goals and things that I wanted to explore. And with Feena, it was more of a, I want to play this person who's kind of this feeling of a thing. And like, that was fulfilled, but again, narratively, there was no drive. And so I think that's an important lesson for me, that I've been moving away from something that helps drive a story, and that I should remember to also, as much as I want to fulfill, I want to play this type of character, give them something to push them along.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is it my turn?
Yes.
So one of the things that I will say is that if I learned something, it's that no risk, no reward. I thoroughly believe, as much as there's been some hesitance for me to even bring up that I was not connecting with this game as much as I felt like I should have been. There's something that especially Liz, but everybody has been reminding me, which is that if we don't allow ourselves the chance to try something, then we're doomed to only do what we already know. And I think that's something that I need to take to heart. I have to allow myself to try things, knowing that I not only have a table, which is incredibly supportive, but also an audience that is supportive, that if I try something and it doesn't work, that it doesn't mean that my entire life is over. It doesn't mean that the channel has to be packed up and put away in a box. And it doesn't mean that the only thing that I can ever do from now on is play it safe. I still want to be able to take risks. And that's something that I'm glad that I learned that I could, because we took a risk with this one. It was still fun. Like, I want to make sure that people understand that as much as I might have complaints about the system or complaints about the way that I connected with the narrative, there wasn't a time where I was like, I hate everything about this and I wish that it was over. It was more like, I had fun, and I realize now that I could be having more fun if we tried something else. And that's what we're going to do. So as much as I'm very happy that we played this, and I'm very happy that we're playing something else, I'm very happy that we tried.
Yeah, and that's such a wonderful. I don't know. This is maybe off topic. I feel like it's expected that like children and teens and young adults learn that lesson, right? And it's like, well, it's like learn to take risks and succeed or fail, and you still learn. And then it's like, okay, I've learned it, and now I'm an adult or an old person or ancient or whatever. And it's just assumed that you don't need to learn that anymore. Exactly. Right?
Scott, there's a question on the table for you.
Yes?
Is that something that concerns you about moving to the shorter season arcs?
So that being the idea of like watching character growth over time. No, it does not concern me, because I just even thinking back to, again, like Exaltwitch and Changeling, which we've played for, like, both of them were quite long running campaigns, even seeing character progress over 10 episode arcs, even 2 episode arcs. There's some episodes of those games that I feel like certainly my character changed like night and day overnight, more or less. And it's so cool.
Oh, I'm the Kingslayer.
Yeah. Well, shit. Exactly. Right. And like, oh no, how am I going to tell my wives this?
Yay!
Oh, never mind. Dead, forgotten, whatever. The last
Divorced, beheaded, died.
Divorced, beheaded, died.
Survived.
Horrible. Anyway, sorry. Yeah. So no, I'm not. I'm not.
And she just lies to me, so I don't have to care.
It's
Hello,
a marriage
canceling?
built on the most stable foundation. Lies, deceit. Yeah.
No,
exactly.
my rocky body.
I guess I don't know what this question is referring to. I think that this was.
I think that's done. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it's funny.
Don't forget that shorter season arcs doesn't necessarily mean that we will end after one season. And also, I should point out that our original plan for the season was to last between 20 and 30 episodes, not 9. We just, if there's one thing that we've learned, and something that we've said before, is that in show business, end before people are starting to wish that it was over. And we found a time that it looked like, oh, this feels like it could be a good ending, and we're already planning on ending it, so let's... Question for all, what did you feel was your biggest challenge in this game from a narrative perspective? I feel like we've kind of covered this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aimlessness.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I have anything more to add myself.
I have one more thing to add, I guess. And I'm going to see if I can phrase this in a way. I was not expecting Melba's relationship with Nuvral to go the way it did in the game, and I wish that I had sat down and couldn't have, but I wish I'd had a Zoom call with John to really go into it even more in depth, because I think what I was trying to explore with their relationship was very specific, and I didn't make that clear enough from the get-go. So that's one thing that like I struggled with, because I wanted Melba's response to Nuvral to be very specific, and it wasn't quite there, but I was very satisfied with the arc it presented anyway. So it was a challenge, but it wasn't a disappointment.
I definitely hear you there, and I think that that's something that's important, is that if there's something that you want, you need to ask for it. And I'm not saying that this is like, look, there were a lot of things that we had to kind of deal with, and we're also still juggling with the fact that we just are gaming with a handicap.
Yeah.
Right? Like we're being dragged back by the fact that we are not able to proceed as we normally do. So it is something to keep in mind. And I should have, well, no, I'm not going to say should have, because I needed to know, but had we sat down and discussed it, then we would have been able to flesh that out a bit better.
Yep.
Read Crosshair's message about preference, not like demanding anything, but preference that we don't end seasons without notice, and that wasn't our intention. We had been talking about it for a few weeks of we aren't sure about this, and the next week I don't think we're going to keep doing this, and then the next week, okay, we're pretty sure we're going to wrap it up, and we had tentatively sort of set an end date, and then I think that was last week where we were like, oh shit, because the plan was actually this Sunday, we had scheduled a meeting, okay, what's our next season, or our next game, so it would have been like this week that we would have announced the end. It's just that last session surprised us.
Yeah. We were planning on doing 3 or 4 more sessions that at that time, and then the thing is that the ending came about, and we just felt that if we had continued, then we risked not having the ending that we would have wanted. So
Yep, I just looked it up, Roger Twy. 100%.
You are not wrong.
Hundo percento, actually.
Yeah, no, it's something that I think broadly we would prefer not to be like, surprise, it's over. I think that generally it's better practice to announce.
I think it's also for us too.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You know.
Now we have to scramble a little faster.
Yeah, well, we had some like charming, wholesome moments in the end, but I think the 3 of us would have behaved differently had we gone into it knowing it was the last episode as well. So like, yeah, in general, I think that is the preference.
Yeah.
For future.
Not just stumbled backwards into a good ending.
Yeah,
Oh, fuck, this is fine.
None of us were planning this, to my knowledge.
crazy.
I know I wasn't. I did not enter last session thinking like, I'm going to end this. It was that, to be honest, I'll say that the moment where I realized that this might be a good point was when you invited everybody over for dinner. And because I also didn't anticipate that Feena was going to be able to convince Erica.
Yeah,
you nailed a roll against
Yeah.
what should have been almost impossible,
Yeah.
and
Filthy
you
roll
got
those.
such a great roll out of
Yeah.
it that I was like, well, it would be so mean of me to be like, nah,
yeah.
and
Not good
and at
enough.
that point, but
Yeah.
I'll cop to it that as much as I'm like, we found a good ending and that was good, we also wouldn't have intentionally ended if we also
Didn't want to.
didn't want to.
Yeah.
And I knew that I wanted to end the game soon, so it was an opportunity.
Yeah.
So Erwin just asked a question, which I imagine she'll just throw right up into. There it is. Do you think that some of the lessons learned from this game might influence how the players play games in the future? For instance, one arrow in John's quiver is reoccurring characters, for example. Would a travel-heavy game result in the players collecting more passengers? So I don't want to say like I always have to fall back on the arrows in my quiver, but at the same time, I also know that there are certain things that people have stated that they missed about this, missed in this game that they didn't get, that they did get from other games. And I realize that the things that I enjoy as well. So yeah, I'd probably try harder to make sure that I was keeping things that I liked available.
Yeah, I mean, we've gone over some of the things that we've learned about individual character drive and narrative arcs and things. I think every time we play a game, and even every time we play an individual session, we learn little things that we try to do better with, right?
Yeah.
Like, you folks out there, like, motivate us to want to improve rather than continue the status quo, because y'all are great.
I mean, if we didn't want to
FroYo's
improve, we'd still be sitting on a couch with a Blue Yeti microphone and two webcams balanced on board games.
I mean, that we might have changed just like the board games we might have changed for our own comfort. I'm gonna say, gonna say, but
Fair.
we wouldn't have gone much beyond that for sure.
Webcam falling down because of cat is pretty iconic, and I'm
That's the
it's
thing.
nothing.
We still refer to it. There's something to be said. There's something to be said for those like wacky cobbled together days.
Whoa, yeah.
Yeah.
Allowed us to grow out of
I'm not
them.
saying we got to go
No,
back
we're
to
not
them,
going
but I'm
back,
saying
yeah.
like it puts a smile on my face.
Liz
to
just
think that.
smashes the camera.
Yeah, I'm like, fuck technology.
Oh my god, she's a Luddite now. Run.
Smash.
Oh god.
So I'm going to ask if there are any other major questions, because we have a one-shot to get to.
Oh shit.
Major question. Yes, I see. I saw.
And
I was slow.
announcements.
Yeah.
Later on as well.
Is announcements after the one shot?
Announcements. We got to keep people to the end.
Yeah. Suck it.
What's next?
A chat that we love.
We need 8 of these.
8 each.
8, yes, 8 gums each. But can I say broadly what our structure is?
I don't know what you mean by structure.
The weekly scheduling.
Yes.
Well, we have the announcements at the end. I mean, for sure.
Okay,
You
fine.
can...
Nope, that's fine. Nothing. You
Which
get
one would
nothing.
have boned Kappa?
1 now.
That would have
I don't know
been
about boning Kappa, but I think that eventually Kappa would have been allowed to snuggle in Feena's sheets, blankets, and stuff.
Kappa was never designed to be a sexual
character.
a sexual character, but it was designed absolutely to be the kind of person who is like cute.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say the Mon Calamari. That's what I'm gonna say.
Oh, that Mon Calamari, like that.
He was built.
He was hot to trot, or whatever the swimming equivalent of trotting is. The breaststroke.
That was
I
a
suppose?
fuckfish.
A fuckfish. The side stroke.
I missed that too, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a whole episode Liz missed, and something came up the other week, and Liz was like, "What are you talking about?" And
Yeah,
I was like,
after
oh,
the
no.
You
game,
were like
I
making
was
a
like,
reference.
God, suddenly we had 200,000 credits. Where did they come from?
I
And he's
forgot.
like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, of course, you weren't there. So he had to explain it to me after
I
the
forgot.
game.
I
I'm
really
like,
thought I had.
Why was I so confused?
I really thought I had.
Bone apple tea, classic.
That was really funny too. Incredible.
All right. Well, I think it's time for us to present
Watch your foot.
All Out of what?
Sorry, I was just sniffing my
need
gum,
more
but I
help on
realized
this.
that they
Oh,
could probably hear
no.
me huffing.
Run,
it.
Liz.
Oh,
I'm not going anywhere.
that's okay.
She's getting more drink
She
for us.
knows what the
Thank
rules are.
you.
Welcome.
Bye.
So I guess I'll have to wait for Liz because I don't want
Aw.
to go into what the.
So there is a disclaimer then. We're gonna at least start by chewing bubblegum, but if it's truly awful for folks with headphones, please just tell us. We'd rather keep you around than be 100% accurate.
Yeah.
And
I'm not even sure if you have to chew
Here.
the gum.
yes.
It's
Like,
strongly
dispose of it.
recommended.
That would make sense.
All
That's gonna be low.
All
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
So if it's time,
It is time.
yes. Yeah, there we go. So if it's time, All Outta Bubblegum is a game that was copyrighted by Michael Epoch Sullivan and Jeffrey Grant.
yeah.
This is what's known as a one-page RPG, which means that the rules can fit on one page. Here are the rules that we need to know. Characters in All Outta Bubblegum have one stat, Bubblegum. It's technically a number which varies from 0 through 8. But instead of writing it down on a piece of paper, you're going to have 8 pieces of gum. Bubblegum always starts at 8. Any action that you want to take that does not fall under the broad category of kicking ass is resolved by rolling a d10. If the number rolled is equal to or less than the amount of bubblegum that you have left, you succeed. Any action which falls under the broad umbrella of kicking ass is also resolved by rolling a d10. However, in this case, you wish to roll greater than the amount of bubblegum that you have left. Whenever you fail a non-combat roll, you lose a stick of bubblegum. You may also sacrifice a stick of bubblegum before the roll to ensure success. You dare use those dice?
No, I was gonna hand it to you.
I don't
Do you
need to
have
roll
to roll?
dice.
No? Okay.
No.
You dare.
You dare.
There it is.
I just imagine like gold-plated dice or something up there. I don't know what's going on.
It was his dice tray
Oh,
with his fancy
shit.
dice.
So if you fail a non-combat roll, you lose a stick of bubblegum. You can also sacrifice one to ensure success before the roll.
A lot of bubblegum.
It also rates your damage. If someone else succeeds in a roll of ass kicking against you, you lose a stick of bubblegum. When you lose your last stick of bubblegum, you are officially all out of bubblegum.
Oh shit.
And you may no longer attempt any kind of non-ass kicking activity. Simple devices like, say, the handles of doors confound you. Eerily enough, you have no problem field stripping a .50 caliber machine gun to clear a jam in 15 seconds flat. However, you may automatically succeed in any ass-kicking related activity. You are a nearly unstoppable ball of bubblegumless fury. When someone else succeeds in an ass-kicking roll against you, they roll a d10. If they roll a 10, you are knocked out. If they roll a 1 through 9, they've only succeeded in making you, if possible, even more angry. So I guess I do need a d10. So I totally bit your head off for no reason. So I'm going to go and get one.
Okay.
I guess I also need some gum. I will also participate in some gum. So
it's by
Yay.
the front door. There's only 7 in that pack. You're gonna have to open a second one.
that's okay. I will start with less.
You
Oh,
could split,
Oh.
you could split one in half. If
John wants to get really mad.
it's true.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
you
true.
could also split one of your pieces in half so
Fine.
that it counts as 8. Thank you, Liz.
Hey,
You are
oh,
great.
Requiem
So
lost.
we are
Damn.
going to play All Outta Bubblegum, but we are going to keep the characters that we have here of Feena, Melba, and Rigel. I should point out that this game session is not canon,
All right.
yeah.
because I don't think that your characters would just inevitably descend into ass kicking by default for everything.
I don't know. Maybe if Feena had a mouthful of bubblegum and she couldn't charm people, she would have to just kick ass.
Just kick ass. It's true. Yeah. No.
That's the
Very
only
well.
thing keeping her safe.
So
Rules right here.
Great. Thank you.
we are going to start. You have finished dinner, and you are leaving Ryloth.
Gone.
But a communication comes over the ship.
I'll go and pick it up.
How do you receive that communication?
Well, I'm going to pick up the communicator and I'm going to answer the call.
Okay, that doesn't sound like you're kicking ass, so I'm gonna have you roll.
Damn it.
Oh, where's our
Dice tray? Where's our thing to
our-
jerk
where's
off
our
list?
thing to?
It's probably in the bedroom if it's that
I know
good.
exactly
Damn
where it
it.
is.
It's
Excuse
so far
me.
away.
It
need
actually,
something to
weirdly enough,
roll
it is
these
in
on.
my closet.
Oh,
Okay.
Scott.
And I ran.
I am
ran
rolling.
so far away.
Sorry. So I rolled a 10.
Which means you have failed. Lose a stick of bubblegum.
Oh,
Incredible. So I guess I'm just going to fumble the communicator and be like, somebody else put the damn thing up.
oh, Rigel, it's okay. I'll answer it. Hold
Sit
up.
down in my chair.
Hold up there, bud.
So what are you gonna
Hello?
do?
I'm gonna try to answer the communicator.
So please roll a die.
Okie doke. I rolled a 5.
So you hear a blip and the lights come on, and
Redshift runner speaking.
it's Kitrin,
Oh.
Oh,
the Wookiee that you encountered so many episodes ago. And in her customary form of grunting and howling as a Wookiee, the message reads as follows. I need your help, and I'm willing to pay handsomely. You need to get me off this rock as soon as you can. I'm caught on planet... And it cuts out.
oh no.
We need to trace that call. Find out where she is. She needs our help.
Hello, ship. Can you trace that call?
What do you mean by trace a call?
We need to know where the latest communique came from.
I'm a medical droid. I could tell you that she seems to be anxious and is experiencing high levels of stress.
Kappa,
Hello.
would you be so kind as to figure out where the last call came from?
That sounds an awful lot like you're trying to convince Kappa of
Yeah, I am. I rolled a 10. I failed.
Son of a bitch!
Kappa just...
Oh boy. Look, maybe I just need to hit the dash a few times and then a map will show up.
Okay, that sounds like you're trying to kick ass, so you can go ahead.
It's a 5.
Okay, so you fail. You don't lose bubblegum, though.
Oh, right.
You only lose that for non-combat rolls. So you smack the panel, and the panel starts to warp a little bit and dent under your hands.
Hey. Just give me a second.
Your
Sure we can
chair,
figure
your
something
chair release goes, and your chair just gets sent back.
No. God. Okay. Sorry. Let's all just take a deep breath here. Okay.
Taking a
I'm
deep
going
breath
to-
doesn't sound like kicking ass, so I'm going to ask all of you to roll.
Do you need me to roll? Okay.
Oh, everybody.
Everyone's
Oh my
Everyone's
God.
trying to. Oh, you failed.
I rolled a 9.
I rolled a 6.
I rolled a 10. Fuck me.
Yes,
I
good.
fail at taking a deep breath.
Okay, here we go. I'm calm. I'm collected. We can handle this.
It sounds like if you're calm and collected and you can handle this, that you would know that what you need to do is just push a certain sequence of buttons to find out where the communication is coming
Hey,
from.
how about this secret sequence of buttons?
It's not really secret. Melba, you just told us.
Kitrin is currently located on the forest moon of Endor.
Yeah.
You gonna fly us there, bud, or what?
I've been there before. I like looking at trees. Let's do this.
Quick question for people who are listening: is the fact that our mics are here and we're chewing gum, is that driving you crazy?
I
Please
can't
let
hear
us know
it.
if it ever becomes
Let
too
us
much.
know. Yeah, we don't hear it over our speaker for what it's worth.
Cool.
Good. I'm gonna try to pull my chair up. No, I am. I'm gonna pull my chair up to the dash, John, and I'm gonna set coordinates for the forest moon of Endor.
Okay.
Astrogate.
So setting coordinates, that sounds like a non-combat option. So
Good.
how many sticks do you have left?
I have 6 sticks.
Okay, good
Yeah.
luck.
That's fine. No, it's okay. We're good. 2. Perfect.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, you make the jump to hyperspace and you're on your way to the forest moon of Endor.
Sweet.
What do you think's happening to her over there?
I don't know, but she says she can pay us handsomely to get her off this rock.
Oh.
So
Maybe
maybe
it's covered
she
in
said that she could
trees.
pay
Is it
you,
rock?
not handsomely.
I thought
She can pay
said
you
she could-
and be handsome at the same
Oh.
time. That's not.
She is a
Yeah,
very
she can.
fetching-
Cheers. Yeah.
Yeah.
I pour one for Kappa too.
Mhm.
I wonder what wine and gum tastes like.
I'm worried it'll
Go with not
deconstitute
good.
it. I know that chocolate ice cream deconstitutes some bubble gum, so I'm definitely afraid of it just turning into mush in my mouth. But anyway.
Oh, wow.
When you drop out of hyperspace, there's something strange. There's hundreds of Imperial ships that seem to be moving back and forth between the surface of the forest moon and a very large other moon. But it doesn't seem to be, like, it's a mechanical thing, but it doesn't seem to be fully constructed yet.
That's
Cool.
the moon.
Oh boy.
That's our one-way ticket to death. That's what that is. That's-
Can you take
What?
us down
That?
undercover or something, Rigel? So no one will see us?
You know what? I can do my best, Melba. I'm just gonna try to.
Land on the dark side of the moon.
Yeah, that's a good idea, actually, Feena. Okay. I want to get around this blockade so we can land on Endor and try to, or the forest moon of Endor or whatever, and then try to find Kitrin,
Mhm.
John.
Mhm.
If I may, I'm gonna sacrifice a stick of gum to aid me in this.
To aid you specifically in?
Because I don't want to kick ass to get down to the planet. I want to try to sneak around this blockade to land on the moon.
And you're looking to sacrifice a piece of gum. All right, go ahead.
If I may.
You've successfully sacrificed a piece of gum, and you have made your way. The redshift runner starts moving, and it lands quite safely on the forest moon. You're surrounded by trees, and the trees are huge, stretching up into the sky, but you can still see that strange moon off over the horizon.
That's not looking good.
It's quite moist down here.
Like on our skin?
Yeah, it's humid.
Humid. Okay.
All right. Well, we have
You
to
like
find
that.
her. Did she give us any particulars?
No.
She's probably waiting for us, though, right? Maybe we,
Kitrin.
maybe we should.
That's not gonna.
You
Yeah,
just start
start
shouting
looking
out
for her.
Kitrin.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't
You start shouting
Imperial.
out Kitrin, and then you see that there's a stormtrooper wandering through the woods, and you hear, "Who's there?"
I'd like to duck behind the nearest bush.
That doesn't sound like kicking ass to me.
No. 5.
Nailed it.
All right, so Melba manages to duck behind a bush. She either is relieving herself or hiding.
Does the storm? Is this the only stormtrooper I can see?
You're looking for other stormtroopers?
Yes.
That doesn't sound like kicking ass.
Okay. I rolled a 1, which is good because that's less than my total bubblegum.
You can see that there are 2 other stormtroopers, but they're about 200 meters away.
2 other. I'm gonna draw my blaster and sort of peek out from the opening in the ship.
Okay.
I guess because he called out, I should do something in response to that. I want to dive tackle the soldier.
That sounds like kicking ass.
Yeah, it sounds like I want to kick his ass by dive
So go ahead and roll.
Let's do it. I have 5. So actually, pretty even Stevens, says me. Son of a 3.
3. The stormtrooper goes, "Hey, what's going on?" And the stormtrooper is going to attempt to fire his blaster at you.
Oh shit.
And he doesn't succeed.
Use the distraction! I shout to no one in particular.
I would like to try to shoot the stormtrooper.
It sounds like kicking ass.
Yeah!
You fail.
I fail.
I would like to creep
I missed.
closer. I would like to rip the bush out of the ground and creep closer to the stormtroopers.
All right, that sounds like kicking ass.
Can I give you gum to help you, or
No.
take gum to?
That sounds like kicking ass, though. So go ahead.
Is it kicking ass?
Well, you're ripping a bush out of the
Yes,
ground.
I'm gonna take a stick of gum so that it succeeds.
Okay, so
I
you
think.
managed to sneak up to. You're now directly behind the stormtrooper. What are you gonna do?
I'd like to say that they're wearing shoes with laces, and I'd like to tie their laces together.
Stormtroopers do not wear laces. However, they do have buckles that you can detach.
I'd like to
and
buckle their buckle. No, I'd like to
Drop
put
his belt.
bracers on them, on their ankles.
Yes.
Okay, well, Melba's
Together.
got bracers. That doesn't sound like kicking ass, though, so I'm going to ask you to roll.
Ah. Okay, I'm rolling a different one.
Okay.
Yep.
That's a 7. Excellent.
Yeah.
How many pieces of gum do you have?
I have 7.
So that's correct. Yeah, it's good. So the binders go around, and the stormtrooper goes, "Hey, I didn't sign up for this," and brings his blaster on and tries to fire at Melba, and fails.
I would like to.
So pew, and it just goes off wide, even though he's literally standing right above you.
he's
It's
thrown off by
the
the
thick
binders.
foliage is protecting me.
Right.
I'm gonna try to shoot him again.
Okay.
I get more than my bubblegum.
Yep. So pew, and the stormtrooper goes and falls over, but the binders hold his legs together, so he just topples over and just lands with a thud. The other stormtroopers, let's see if they notice you. Yeah, so the other 2 stormtroopers go, "Intruders!" and they get on their speeder bikes.
Oh no!
Oh shit! John, I'm gonna
Oh my god.
What are you gonna
yeah,
do?
I'm gonna fire up the redshift runner.
You're gonna fire at the redshift runner?
No, I'm gonna fire up the redshift runner. I'm gonna turn it back on.
That doesn't sound like kicking ass to me.
Damn it! You're right. Well, eventually I'll have to kick its ass to make it work, but I did it. I got a 3.
Nice.
Okay, so the redshift runner fires up. What about the 2 of you?
I would like to run and leap onto the speeder behind one of the stormtroopers.
Okay, so that's a 200-meter distance. You're gonna have to kick a lot of ass for that. Go for it.
I'd like to kick this air's ass.
Yeah! Kick its ass.
No, it's only a 5.
So you start running after the speeders. What about you?
I'm gonna get into the ship, but I'm not gonna close the door. I'm gonna leave the gate down so that hopefully we can like scoop up Melba at some point. And I'm gonna run to the guns to try to shoot some speeding.
Okay, so you're running to get on the ship. That
Yeah.
doesn't sound like kicking ass.
That's a leaner, but it's currently on a 10, so I
So
fail.
you fail. So Feena just blong. Like,
I trip over some like branches on the ground. Right, there's so much foliage here.
yeah,
Ugh.
the gangway just starts raising a little too late, and Feena isn't able to pull herself onto the ship. But you are now airborne. What do you do?
I I want to use the redshift runner to kick some ass, John. I want to cut a tree in half so that it'll fall cut it so that it falls down in front of the speeders. Or on the speeders.
Like fire your blasters in front of the speeders? Remember, they're 200 meters away.
Okay. So okay.
Or you can just fly over them and like. What are you trying to do?
I want to fly the redshift runner into a tree to knock it down onto them.
Okay, that sounds like kicking ass. Go for it.
I want to kick a tree's ass. Let's go. That's what I want to do. No.
Oh dear.
I failed.
No, isn't it more?
No. Oh,
no,
sorry.
You succeeded.
I got more than my gum.
Then you succeeded.
Right, yes, I did succeed. Got it. Sorry.
Okay, so the redshift runner glides over and then just savagely smacks into one of the massive trees, which does topple over. However, I'm going to see if that damages the redshift runner. It sure does.
Oh no.
So the redshift runner starts, you start hearing an alarm, and you hear a voice that just says, ow.
Oh no.
Look, I'd be sorry, but we gotta kick a lot of ass. We're gonna get Kitrin off this rock.
Okay. Also notice this soon enough with all of this ruckus.
The stormtroopers' bikes smack into the tree, and one of them just explodes in a fireball. The other one manages to jump off and is currently bobbling and is trying to use its communicator, and starts going, advancing to base. We have intruders here on the moon.
I'm gonna try to shoot him from really far away.
Oh, that sounds like kicking ass. You failed.
Oh.
So a blaster bolt goes pew, and they're gonna fire back at you.
Oh my god.
They succeed.
Oh no.
You take 1 bubblegum worth of damage. as the bolt goes chung, and like grazes one of your leku.
No.
Ah.
Whoosh whoosh.
First 2 questions. Can I still be wearing the bush?
Yes.
Can I I'd like to grab a long stick from the forest floor and pole vault. Sorry.
No, volt is good.
Pole vault over to the other speeder that's been left abandoned.
Okay. Pole vaulting doesn't sound like kicking ass to me. So go ahead.
Okay. It's a 1. Hooray!
It's good.
Okay, so you plant that, and Melba rises majestically into the air, her stalks aerodynamically angling her in the direction that she needs to go, and she lands. Did you want to land on the stormtrooper or next to the stormtrooper?
I'd like to land right on the speeder.
Oh!
The speeder exploded. They jumped off the speeder.
I thought the other one. Oh, I thought one. Sorry, I misheard. Yeah, I'll land on the stormtrooper then. On its shoulders, please. I'd like to ride the stormtrooper around. Okay,
you're riding the stormtrooper. The stormtrooper is like, "What's going on?" And he lifts the blaster and tries to shoot you, and succeeds. Take 1 bubblegum worth of damage, as maybe the blaster bolt misses, but the stormtrooper is bucking around so much that he slams you into a tree. What's next?
I'm gonna get on. I'm gonna use the megaphone that I'm gonna broadcast outside of the redshift runner. I'm going to just tell my compatriots here. Looks like our cover's blown. We're gonna have to make this a real quick getaway. Kitrin, if you can hear my voice, make your way towards it.
That doesn't sound like kicking ass to me.
No, it does not. But I'm gonna try it, John. I rolled an 8.
So you failed.
So now you do take up bubblegum.
Yeah.
How much bubblegum do you have left there, Rigel?
I have 4 because I'm just all in on this gum.
Okay.
Oh shit, Feena too?
Okay.
Level-headed.
After cradling my minor injury for a moment, so 1 stormtrooper exploded, 1 you're riding on his shoulders.
Yeah, one was shot, 1 exploded, and 1 currently is a mount for Melba.
Badass mount requiem. Take note.
I would like to get to slightly higher ground in order to try to see if I can't see any.
Okay, so you're looking for other people, and you did not succeed, so that's going to be another bubblegum for you.
Damn. Getting tough.
I would like to point
No,
my.
I wish I had chosen half sticks.
Yeah, Feena's Feena is getting more and more.
Tongue-tied.
Yeah. Melba?
I would like to point my blaster at his face and say, call off your reinforcements.
That sounds like a
I'm
threat,
gonna be
right?
forced to end you. Yeah.
Oh,
all
that doesn't sound like
reinforcement.
kicking ass. That sounds like a prelude to ass kicking. So I'm gonna have to ask you to roll.
Okay. That is still a success because it's 6 and I have 6.
Yep. This is grossing me out too much. Oh dear.
Are
Is
you
it-
hearing us chewing
Yeah,
now?
if we're hearing the
us
chewing,
know.
then we'll just stop the gum.
Yeah, we don't need to. Still fun without gum.
Jake's like, please don't make me eat any more gum.
The
That's right
the
in the
stormtrooper is like, I'll tell you where my base is. That's all I can do.
Radio them and say that we're not a threat. Say it was a bush.
All right. Well, he's gonna try to radio back to base, and he fails.
Whoa. Oh boy.
So what did he offer?
He picks
to
up
say?
the comm,
Oh.
and he is like, "Okay, whoa!" And the comm falls on the ground, and it lands. And just as he's about to pick it up, a spear comes flying out of the trees and just snaps the comm in half.
Fuck. Who's on the speeder?
No, a spear.
Spear.
That makes more sense. Where does the spear come from?
The trees.
Can I see who threw the spear from the trees?
Oh, you're trying to find out who threw the spear? That doesn't
Yeah.
sound like ass kicking to me.
Damn it. Can I kick the ass of perception?
No.
I'm going to try to find out. I did not succeed.
Who knows?
I'm
The stormtrooper is now weeping.
gonna draw my gun.
Okay.
Getren! Getren!
Is it?
You've drawn your gun. Melba?
Look, you seem like a nice person. Do you want to join our crew?
Oh?
Okay. That sounds like you're trying to convince him to join your crew.
Yeah.
Go ahead and roll.
Nope. 9.
That'll cost you a bubblegum.
No.
And he goes, rebel scum, and he picks up his blaster and he tries to fire at you again. And he fails.
I'd like to shoot him in the head.
That sounds like ass kicking.
Nope. It's a
I
3.
would like to shoot him in the head.
All right, go for it.
This is so the redshift runner. Like I'm gonna just turn the runner around and then like jump in the gunner's seat. I'm gonna try to take him down. Huh. Ooh! Oh no! I rolled higher. I always forget.
So you
roll higher.
succeeded?
I got a 10.
So the plasma cannons on the redshift runner light up and just pling, and like all of a sudden your mount is missed underneath you. However, you are now about 1.5 meters off the ground. What do you do?
You were standing on him,
Yeah.
and now he's gone.
But now am I just falling?
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
I would like to. I want to look around for some kind of vehicle, some kind of other mount.
Looking doesn't sound like kicking ass, so
No.
Oh, balls.
Nope.
Oh no.
you can't find anything. And Kitchen's still not around.
All right, I'm gonna shoot in the direction that the spear came from.
That sounds like kicking ass.
Yay!
Excuse me.
You succeeded. Pew! And then you hear a... and this brown furry thing just falls from the tree. And just lands on the ground. Smoking.
That's too small to be Kitrin. Kitrin, did you have babies? Sorry.
Kitron, did you have babies? Answer the question if you can hear my voice.
I'd go over to investigate the thing that I shot.
Investigating doesn't sound like kicking ass, but you succeeded.
Oh, thank God.
It's strange. It's kind of like a bear-like creature. Has a bandolier around it where it has a slingshot and little pebbles on it, and has little buck teeth, but it is absolute, like, it's dead.
Oh, well, at least it was an adult.
Woof. That's the takeaway here?
Oh my god.
I love it.
I didn't know.
Smoked an Ewok.
Jesus Christ.
Wow.
What are you doing?
Whole planet's out to get us. Okay. We need to find Kitrin, and I'm not sure how to find someone without kicking ass. So, John.
Yes.
Oh, no, the base. I want to see if I can scan for the nearest Imperial base.
Okay, scanning for an Imperial base is possible, but that isn't kicking ass.
Okay. Can I use a stick of gum on this?
Yeah. To succeed automatically?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, you managed to find the location of an Imperial base. It's approximately 1 kilometer from your direction, due north.
Hop on. I think I know where she is.
Okay, I hop on.
Hopping
Running
on
back
doesn't
to
sound
the-
like kicking ass.
Redshift runner.
You failed.
Can I have taken... No,
Nope.
it's too late.
I failed as well.
Oh, boy.
Okay. So they can't get on the ship because the gangway is closed.
Damn it. I'm going to jump out of the pilot gunner's seat. Doesn't matter. I'm going to kick the gangplank open so that they can climb on.
You're going to kick the gangway open?
Correct.
Okay. That sounds like kicking ass.
That's what I like to hear. Yeah. I got a 6.
Okay,
Yes.
so the two of you can make it onto the ship. However, now you hear an ow again from the Redshift runner's
I
communication.
already said I was sorry.
It's freaking out.
What do you do?
It was angry Rigel.
I'm gonna hop on a gunner seat. And I'm gonna start shooting down trees that are in our way.
That sounds like kicking ass. You failed.
Fuck! I'm just gonna... No, I don't expend
You
gun when
don't
I fail at
expend gun when
kicking
you
ass.
fail.
That was a great idea, so I'm gonna steal that idea and sit in the
You've
other
been in
gunner
2 gunner
seat.
seats.
Okay, yeah, that succeeds.
Okay, so Melba gets in the gunner seat and just starts mowing trees down, creating a nice path that you'll easily be able to navigate to get to the base.
Okay. Can I navigate a path to the base, like quickly? Like I want to fly the
Like aggressively?
Yeah,
you
I want
wanna
to fly the
punch
redshift runner.
Flying doesn't
Yeah,
sound
I
like
want
kicking
to.
ass.
I want to
Punch it.
Yeah, I want to punch it over there.
Punching it sounds like kicking ass.
Yeah, I can do that. Okay, so I rolled a 3 and I have 3 sticks of gun left.
So you failed. So what happens is the ship accelerates and plows directly into the base. I'm gonna ask all of you to take 1 damage
Who's a stick? Oh boy.
Okay.
Getting heavy.
as the ship shudders and then like falls over. Stormtroopers are pouring out of the base.
I'm gonna start shooting them from my gunner seat.
That sounds like kicking ass.
I didn't roll a 1, so...
You succeeded. So stormtroopers start like falling
Pew, pew,
over
pew,
in
pew,
droves
pew, pew.
as Feena just starts going for it using the gunner seat. What about you two?
I want to leap out of the cockpit, which is now like smashed open.
Yeah.
I want to drop kick a stormtrooper into the door of the base.
Okay, that sounds like kicking ass.
Let's fucking go. Kitrin, we're here for you. I rolled a 7.
That
That's
sounds
success.
like it. Okay, so you managed to kick a stormtrooper so hard that the door dents and then swings open, and inside you can see Kitrin standing there, and she's got binders holding her in place to a wall. Behind the wall, there seems to be a whole bunch of switches, and off to the left, you see that there's this massive energy generator that seems to be being assembled.
Oh.
I'd like to run to the gangplank, which is hopefully still
have to
open
go
because
clean
it was
it.
kicked open, and bounce off of it towards the base.
That sounds like kicking ass to me.
Great. Yay! I did it.
Success.
Okay, so you are now inside the base. Stormtroopers are going to fire at the 2 people who are currently outside the ship. So first, I'm going to fire at Melba. I failed, so they miss. I'm going to fire at Rigel. I failed, so the 2 of you are...
True to stormtroopers.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, pew, pew.
I would like to try to shoot those 2.
Okay, go for it. That sounds like kicking ass.
I succeed.
More stormtroopers fall under the scythe of Feena's guns.
Pew, pew, pew.
Horrifying.
Kitrin is roaring and trying to pull free from the binders, but she can't because they are extra special Imperial binders.
Oh no!
Well, those binders will wither under my blaster fire, so I'm gonna fire at the binders.
Okay, I hope you succeed,
I hope so too.
because otherwise you're hitting Kitrin.
I did succeed.
Okay, so your blasters go pew, and you see that her arms are free, and she looks at you and just goes, thank you so much.
Why are you speaking English?
However, she still has binders by her ankles.
I need to fire at those too. No,
Okay.
I'm gonna go and I'm gonna drop kick them.
Okay, so you leap up, hoping that the crest of your arc will take you down low enough towards her ankles.
Yeah.
Go ahead. That sounds like kicking ass to me.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yay! I succeed.
Getting closer though.
I know.
You have successfully drop kicked binders. They fall open, and Kitrin dashes out. Stormtroopers turn around and go like, "Hey, that's the prisoner!" And then they fire at you, Melba.
Oh.
They fail, and they'll fire at Rigel,
Okay.
and they fail.
Oh my god.
All right, I'm gonna shoot down those 2 stormtroopers again.
Okay. You
I
succeed. Pshoo, pshoo, and the stormtroopers vaporize, and then you hear a, wait a minute. Everybody has to stop.
Who said that? I'd like to look for the source of the voice. Excuse me.
Doesn't sound like
I'm Moff Dedgar.
you're gonna be a
and-
dead guy soon. And
And a man dressed in an imperial Moff's uniform just strides forward, puts his hands on his hips. I demand that you cease this attack against Imperial forces.
What?
We can be reasonable about this. Come, let's sit down and we can discuss our surrender terms.
Hello. My
That
name
doesn't
is
sound like kicking ass to me.
just that, eh? Didn't even want to let me No, you know what? If I succeed, I'll get the rest out. No, big fail.
Okay, so you
take it
fail.
down.
I would like to spend
yeah.
my last.
Are you out of gum?
No, not yet. I have one left after
Okay.
this. Yeah.
I would like to spend my last gum to talk.
Okay. So this is the last thing that you can do that isn't ass kicking. So make it count.
You have 15 seconds to plead your case, and I'd like to also start like charging the charging for the big shot from the cannon,
Yeah.
pointing it at him.
So Moff Dedgar looks around and sees just this like mountain of stormtrooper armor and corpses. Clearly you have my forces outmatched and outgunned. I can tell you how to disable the energy shield that's protecting the Death Star.
I want to grab him and just be like, tell us now.
Okay, roll. Oh no, you
Is that-
can't fail.
All right.
it
well,
is
I have-
impossible.
Ass kicking.
It is impossible for you to fail an ass kicking. So I just did tell you, I can tell you to turn off the energy shield.
Shake him. I keep
Pretty
shaking
sure
him.
we can just blow it
His
up.
neck snaps and he falls over.
No.
I'd like to go through his pockets.
No.
Okay.
in case
That
that's
doesn't sound like
written on
kicking
his-
ass to me. Go for it.
I'd like to rip open his pockets.
That's ass kicking.
I mean, he's dead. He isn't gonna miss them.
Oh no! Let's roll a 1.
So you rip open his pockets and the contents of them spill out into the air and rise up and land in the energy beam.
Oh, no.
They vaporize instantaneously.
I'm gonna turn my guns back towards the energy shield. I'm gonna blow this up.
Let's start getting the hell out of here.
You hear this strange noise. It sounds like a really, really, really loud laser powering up.
Is it other than from me?
Yeah, other than from you. It's coming from the sky.
Oh.
I can't shoot
I
that
look
from
up
here.
to see what it is.
That doesn't sound like ass kicking, so you can't.
Correct. You're right. I can't succeed.
We need to
you
go
can still
blow
try.
that up.
You do have one left. It's only when you're at 0 that you
Yeah.
can't do anything other.
Well, that's true.
I thought
Yeah.
you used the last one. Sorry. Yeah, go
No, I
ahead.
still have one
Yeah.
left.
Go ahead and roll.
Nope. Okay, so
Ah, you
so no.
take it.
So
Okay,
now,
so-
now I'm officially all out.
So
of
you
bubblegum.
you look up, but you can't seem to see because there's a ceiling above you and you don't see what's beyond the ceiling.
I'd like to shoot open the ceiling.
That sounds like ass kicking to me.
What the shit?
Yay!
Okay, so and the ceiling just comes right down, and you can see that strange moon. Lasers are starting to come together at a point, and they seem to be aimed towards the planet.
Oh no!
Get
Kitrin
on
yells,
board, I'm gonna blow this up.
Kitrin yells, "We have to get out of here! That thing's going to explode the moon!"
No.
I'm going to blow up the ocean.
I'm going to blow up the ocean.
I'm not sure how to fly this thing because I am all out of bubblegum, but I'm gonna run up there, John, and I'm gonna start smashing controls with my big meat fists and just try to get us off this rock.
Okay, does anybody else want to do something while he's on his way up there?
I'm looking for a speeder. There must be more speeders. I just need to find a speeder.
Okay, you look for a speeder, go ahead. But that's not ass kicking.
I yell out, "Speeder, you better show yourself or I'm gonna kick your ass."
That's still not ass kicking, that's a threat.
Okay. No.
Okay, you
All
failed.
out.
So you start. So the redshift runner is going to start rising shakily from the planet. You are in the gunner's seat.
I'm going to shoot the control panel next to the energy source, hoping that the explosion might create enough of a delay before we leave the base. But
Okay,
yeah.
go for it. That's ass kicking.
I mean, I succeed because I don't have to roll.
Okay,
for
you have
out again.
successfully taken down the energy shield that was protecting the Death Star.
Shit.
The Death Star is going to attempt to fire at the planet that you're on.
Wait, they have to roll for that?
They fail.
Oh, good.
So the Death Star misses.
All right.
And the first laser just goes wide, and you hear from inside, "Idiots." I mean, this is all the way in space.
I'm gonna start
hoping it's
trying
another
to
planet.
point my gun towards
Oh, I
the
did
Death
roll wrong.
Star, even though it's really far away.
Okay, you
that doesn't work.
you
How about-
start
place
to
where all
try and
targets would
aim.
be.
That doesn't sound like
Okay,
ass kicking,
I
and
start pointing.
your aim just goes off somewhere else.
Yeah, I'm
Melba.
gonna just. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't have a speeder. All right, you shoot the thing. I need to get back to the ship. I'd like to punch the ground so hard that the tremors propel me back towards the redshift runner.
Okay, you can roll that. That sounds like kicking ass.
Oh yeah, no, you're all out.
Oh
right?
yeah, I'm all out of bubblegum,
So,
so I'm
as long
Oh.
as you're kicking ass, you succeed.
So you smash the planet, and it, like, you feel this tremors, and then you hear a yup dub up don't, and you lift up. 7 Ewoks die in the shockwave as their trees get uprooted. As you rocket up through the hole that Rigel jumped out of in the cockpit and slam into the co-pilot seat.
I would like to be inspired by this and start shooting the planet to propel us up faster.
Yes.
Okay,
exactly what I
that
was
sounds like kicking ass. The ship starts, with the recoil, starts lifting up away from orbit from the planet. The Death Star is going to fire again at the planet. This time they succeed, but you are now far up away from the planet that the forest moon of Endor just...
Oh.
And just the entire planet explodes, sending the redshift runner spiraling. You two are in the cockpit, however, the window is open because you smashed through it, so it is decompressed. You have no oxygen. What do you do?
I'm gonna kick oxygen. I'm gonna punch the oxygen that is still in my lungs so that it recirculates around my body. That's
Okay, that keeps you alive briefly. I'm going to roll a 1d10 to see how that works.
that's fair.
Oh, so you punch yourself in the chest, your breath escapes your mouth, and your vision just starts to narrow to a point because you're hypoxic. Go ahead.
I'd like
Melba.
to grab Rigel's body and use it to slam it up against the hole in the cockpit to block the
Okay, that sounds like ass kicking. So you pick up Rigel's floppy body and slam it into the windshield, plugging the hole. So oxygen is not it's not escaping as fast as it once was. Go ahead, Feena.
I'd like to try to shoot the Death Star.
Okay, well, you turn around and you, like,
Oh my god.
brap, 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 it starts bouncing off the armor. The Death Star is going to turn around and attempt to disable your guns.
No.
They fail.
Hey!
So you continue to fire. It looks like it's got a lot of armor on it. You may need to find a location to fire at, but that would be hard because that's not ass kicking.
Hey, Katrin, I need to kill this thing dead. How can I kill it dead better?
That's asking a question, which doesn't work. So,
Katrin, I need to kill this thing better.
so Kitrin says, aim for the central exhaust.
I'm gonna shoot the fuck out of that central exhaust.
What?
So you start to fire again. The Death Star shudders for a second, and then you start seeing its systems collapsing. So the construction starts kind of imploding and pulling in on itself. The Death Star has entered into a cataclysmic systems failure. However, there are, of course, many ships still going back and forth between the now disappeared moon of Endor and also a bunch of Star Destroyers surrounding as a fleet. They're all going to turn around and attempt to fire at you.
They're all going to turn around.
All of them miss. What do you do?
I'd like to punch it. We're going
Into hyperspace?
into hyperspace with Rigel.
So I'm going to see if...
Is my body going to disintegrate, though?
Yeah, I'm going to see if Rigel's body has enough structural integrity to hold the compression of the cockpit as you make the jump to hyperspace. Rigel gets sucked out of the cockpit, and Melba, you also get sucked out. Feena, you are now in a ship which is in hyperspace. I don't know where to, but Feena, you are alone in the ship now as Rigel and Melba.
Fire the tractor beam to try to capture them?
That doesn't sound like ass kicking.
I'm firing the tractor beam.
Okay, so you fire the tractor beam. It like catches both of them and slams them together so hard that their bones liquefy.
Well, at least they died together.
Kappa pokes his head around and goes, "What the fuck are you doing?"
I'm going to...
This is...
rip my bed sheets into a nest that I'm gonna sleep in.
Okay. So you sleep in, you get into the bed sheets, and Kappa looks up and says, "Cozy." The shift rudder proceeds directly into the corona of a star.
Nice.
And then all of you wake up.
Wow.
It
was all a dream.
What a freaking awesome dream, man.
I had the
Wait,
weirdest dream.
Hello. Oh my god.
Death
Hi, Kappa.
sticks.
I hope you have enjoyed this session of All Outta Bubblegum,
Oh my
Star Wars
fucking
Reach
God.
Edition.
Yes, please. There comes a critical mass of gum where you just want it out of your mouth.
Thank you for choosing this mouth.
Ah, it's good though.
I somehow
Wow.
thought that, like, well, okay, I was expecting the smaller little sticks, but still, I somehow thought that that would be better than the
You're
cubes.
expecting like Trident style
Yeah.
sticks. Oh, okay.
This is why
Yeah.
you shouldn't sleep with your morals, Melba. Truth.
Damn.
So
My breath
All
is
Outta
sure minty
Bubblegum.
fresh, though.
The key of All Outta Bubblegum is that the thing is that eventually it becomes really hard to justify doing anything but kicking ass. So like as it goes on, I can just start having people do horrible things to each other because that's all they know how to interact with each other at that point. So
Yeah, if you can't, exactly right. If you can't take the money, get the money, grab, like if you can't interact with the thing that you're trying to get, you just punch each other because that's all you know how to do.
Or shoot the
incredible.
world.
true story, All Outta
More.
Bubblegum is the game that we used to audition Amir for Full Party.
That is correct.
Where they stole iPhones, if I remember correctly, from a secret underground base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was
we-
your father, wasn't he?
That's that is correct. I don't remember why we established that. It
Me
was like
neither.
totally unnecessary.
But you did.
I'd forgotten about that.
Water is extremely cold after you've been chewing a lot of minty gum.
Like spearmint.
Ooh.
It's good gum. I like this gum.
Oh, yeah.
Quite a bit, but maybe you just don't want to have 7 pieces of it in your mouth at once.
6. I gave up at 6. I set them aside to stop chewing.
Well, that's nice.
There was one
Oscar.
comment I forgot to say earlier. You all did an exceptional job with Star Wars Reach. While short-lived, it still left memories that will live forever, at least for the next 100 years, and I personally would like to thank for the adventure.
Thank you very much.
Aw.
Let's take a trip down memory lane.
I vote you in every season with All Outta Bubblegum. We
Maybe.
just might.
I honestly,
not a bad idea.
I'm into it.
Depends on the characters, maybe.
I kind of want to know what it would have been like for Changeling.
Oh, I mean, Patches would have just fucking shot everything.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, but she
Sophia
also
would've
has the
lit everything
healing
on fire.
method, so she would have shot someone to heal them.
Yeah.
In
We
character.
did talk. We at one point, I think maybe even in the I don't remember what we talked about the 3 of us getting into a fight and how that would have gone down. It was quite something.
Mm.
I
Well,
still don't know who would have won. I think Patches would have won in a.
what, in a knockdown, drag-out
Yeah.
fight between all 3 of you?
Yeah.
It really depends on what lengths you were willing to go to.
And where we started. If we started at a distance, like
Yeah.
Sophia and Patches would have had advantages, because Sophia for casting, Patches for sniping. Whereas if we
Yeah.
started at melee,
Oh, I would have been dead in a
Just
second.
grab you, right?
yeah, grab, smash, slice, stab, undo. You would have just had to stab us once and kill yourself to kill whoever you stabbed.
Bam.
So whoever Brom didn't try to unmake with Whisper is who would have won. Because it would have been pew.
You know, Whisper is still a sword. It can unmake somebody just by cutting them in half.
Nah, that's not cool enough.
It's true. It's not cool enough.
I see.
Pretty sweet.
Well,
Yeah.
folks,
Really fun.
it looks like we might be time for us to start discussing what's happening.
Oh, yes, I think so.
So, first off, we've got a schedule that we got to keep. Over the next 4 RPG Clinic sessions, we are going to be running one-shots.
Ta-da!
And there are 4 of us.
Amazing how that works out.
Oh.
I sniped for a spot. We, the 4 of us, are going to go on an adventure to the Temple of Doom to defeat the ancient evil. It is a one shot, one session RPG that has basically 2 pages of rules, print and play completely free from Story Brewers, the same people who made Good Society that Liz ran. It's basically Let's Be Indiana Jones, or from the Mummy films, you know, archaeologists.
True facts, when you put your name in on the sheet, it has to start with doctor and end with PhD. You
Yeah.
have no choice but to be
Awesome.
a doctor of archaeology.
Yeah. It's gonna be a lot of fun. It's actually a rotating GM story, so we're all gonna be GMing it, but I'm gonna like facilitate it, deal with the rules explanation, that sort of thing. That's what's up first.
Everyone is asking what the name of the game is.
To the Temple of Doom. I'm gonna put it into chat. I don't know whether we haven't established the order. Otherwise, we'll
Yeah.
get those details out this week. But
And obviously, these games that we're announcing are potentially subject to change if we find that we can't run it for whatever reason, or we have backups ready. But that's our first. Shall I go next?
Sure.
Yes.
sure.
All right. I am planning on running a one-shot known as Roll for Shoes, which is a tabletop RPG micro system with a very simple set of rules, which was based on the idea that somebody once had to ask, I roll to see if I have shoes on. It is a great, wacky system. It's kind of similar in tone, I imagine, to All Outta Bubblegum, but without quite the same level of just like de-evolution. Roll for Shoes. Looking forward to it, and that's going to be a great time for the lot of us.
Yes, I am going to be running a game I just discovered today called Lady Blackbird.
Ooh.
Very, very steampunk. A woman escapes an arranged marriage on an airship full of a bunch of wacky crew members.
Kung Fu
I'm very
Fenders doesn't
excited.
seem to like Lady Blackbird.
Or definitely
No.
super likes it. One of the two.
Yes. We're gonna find out, right?
Adore it.
Oh,
Awesome.
oh,
Doesn't
great.
like it. Adores it.
Adores it.
Yeah. Super excited for that.
It does actually sound like a lot of fun too. Yeah, what kind of danger are we going to encounter in the skies? Adventure! That's my plan. And I am planning to facilitate a game of Fiasco, the role-playing game based on the feeling of being a character in a Coen Brothers film is one way in which it's been described. We're gonna have to see about that one in terms of like making sure we can play it in this setup, but I think we can, and I think it's gonna be a lot of fun to do so. Betrayals, sex, drugs, and baseball bats probably.
A Simple Plan is one of my like favorite sort of that genre of film, and I'm really looking forward to being able to play in that kind of
Oh, thanks, Sam.
situation. I also look forward to inevitably betraying Kate again, because that seems to be what happens when I play in one
Seems to
shots.
be the jam.
And in Among Us. But,
Now in Among Us.
That's the job.
I go.
So let's go over those one more time.
To the Temple of Doom.
Roll for shoes.
Lady Blackbird.
And Fiasco! Exclamation point. Which actually sounds like it could be the plot of a role-playing game.
Yeah.
4 of those in that order.
Yeah.
That's 4 episodes. That's going to take us to December 20th. The 20th will be the last one shot that we'll run. December 27th, we aren't playing.
Oh.
We don't take breaks very often here at RPG Clinic, but we are planning on taking a break for the holidays. Also, we probably will not have an RPG Clinic. Clinic hours that week as well, because I think
That'll be the Christmas day, I think. Or Christmas Eve.
So
John could
Yeah.
have been wearing a hat.
yeah, it lands on Christmas Eve, so I may not. We'll see. Obviously, not everybody celebrates Christmas. Obviously, Christmas happens at different times for different people. But it will become a difficult time for us to negotiate that time around. Despite the fact that we may not be able to see people during our holidays, we'll see how that goes. So the 27th is the last Sunday of the year. After that, it's January 3rd. January 3rd will have to be a session 0. Right? We've started to take up the idea that session 0 should be played on stream. I think that that's a thing that we want to continue trying to do, right? Like I think that that's appropriate. So we previously stated, I think that the 2 hints that we gave were that this game would be a learning experience. And you also dropped one at Punchy, I think?
That was gonna be hot.
That it's going to be hot.
Learning experience. Okay. Some sort
If
of.
you carry the tea.
This is a kind of an interesting plan, something that we'll see if it will work out for us. But we do have a plan. Our next game for RPG Clinic, the coming season, is going to be one that we have kind of played before.
That's another hint.
We are going to be playing a 3rd edition Exalted game
Clean them up.
focused on Dragon Blood attending secondary school on the Blessed Isle. It is going to be a mixture of the high action and fantasy and intrigue that we've come to know and love with Exalted. However, it will also come with a nice dose of shenanigery that we'll find from those who are navigating their college years. So look forward to seeing these. Which secondary school? Is that too soon? I know what one I'm currently preferring, but I think that's going to depend on the characters that the players will come out with. But we are going to be running Exalted 3rd Edition, a game that we've played before, but with an entirely different splat. We've never played dragon-blooded characters here on this before. So this is going to be interesting, but we have even more to state. The game isn't going to end with Dragon Blood Academy.
Assuming that all goes as planned, when... May I continue? When Exalted Essence is released and we are prepared, we will end the school year or otherwise sunset these particular characters and pick up with another group in the same setting?
The same universe, same setting.
Zoom out to the map, zoom into another spot.
The events of Dragon Blood Academy will affect the next session, the next game of Exalted that we'll play, which will be using Exalted Essence rules when we can get a hold of them. This is something that I'm kind of excited about because I don't know the characters that these people will create. I don't know what sides of various conflicts they'll fall on, and I don't know whether their second group of NPC or PCs, they aren't NPCs, but that their second group of PCs will be completely counter to their first or not. But it will still be the same universe. That is a guarantee. Now, a couple of things to point out. Scott,
yes.
Will this game be linked to the Exaltwitch universe as previously established?
My understanding is no.
No, it will not.
Okay.
This is a new setting. The events that took place in Exaltwitch will not apply to this game.
Timelines.
Elizabeth.
Yay.
Will there be hijinks?
Yay.
All right.
Will Scott get a fancy shirt? Kate.
Got to tune in to find out, Requiem.
Yes.
He got it.
I mean, probably.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
You're going to be the fanciest. of
Will I
students.
let people die for it? This is the question.
Yes.
The more
Almost.
1,000 times, yes.
Certainly.
Almost certainly.
Some questions, some comments that have come in already. Just to clarify, it is going to be in the secondary school structure, but our characters are going to be young adults. So, just for age and maturity levels, as much as
Yeah.
we're all a bunch of immature adults sitting at the table.
Some
Yeah.
more than others.
Yeah. But definitely like late high school, early college kind of age vibe and
Well, let's be honest. Let's just
Blinking.
hope that it doesn't turn into American Pie.
Oh no, because then okay, yeah. As long as like we have a Eugene Levy cameo at that moment, John, that would probably
Quit.
make
Start
it.
working our contacts. We are slightly removed from Eugene Levy.
there we go.
Like 2 degrees.
Oh, do you remember that class we took together 10 years ago?
Hey,
Please.
Scott was
Hello.
gonna play with her.
Oh, shit. There you go. Yeah,
Oh,
many ships hopefully will sail.
God, fingers
Maybe
crossed.
some of us will have ranks in sail. Who knows?
Sal.
I
Oh
don't
fuck!
know.
I don't have the button.
From when I go sailing with Papa.
Sound effects is still
Oh,
there.
infuriating already. I'm just kidding.
That's not my character. Or
Okay.
is it?
Yes.
Sorry.
Hey,
Yes.
If you have questions about what's going on, best place to look into would be the Discord. Discord is there and available.
God damn it.
There, I will say that the universe isn't the same. We might drop like cameo names. I don't know, maybe Bacon Days will show up again,
Bacon days, pork
if we ever go to
bun.
Nexus,
God.
yes.
right? But like it's the, Ray and Valeria and Jorik do not exist. Their actions did not occur, so do not worry. You do not have to know anything before going into this. It is it is not something you have to worry about. That also goes for full party, by the way. Nexus is not. Spoiler warning. Anyway.
Yeah.
Those things didn't happen.
Right. There it is.
But we're also going to be using our info boxes and our new stream tech in an attempt to make sure that we deliver a great Exalted experience for everybody. We are hoping that people can appreciate this game the way that we have appreciated it in the past and that we'll appreciate it in the future. And having Essence on the horizon is really exciting for us because it means that we'll be able to shake things up. They'll be able to play any splat they want. Within reason.
Yeah, a lot of choices there. Let's see how that goes down.
But that is what's happening. We'd love to hear what you think. We'd love to hear your suggestions for the upcoming game. And we would love to understand and appreciate everything that you have to tell us. The best place for that is on the Discord. So please go ahead and post there. We didn't get a chance to thank them in the beginning, but we do have to thank She Who Knows 10,000 Things, Entropy's Disciple, and as yet unnamed. We're going to have to find a proper name for him. We'll have to make sure that we have that before the start of this campaign.
I like how we each had a different idea.
But Real Brick Wall has joined the ranks of moderators, but is not here, and probably will not be able to be here for many Sundays, just unfortunately. But he is often around for clinic hours, so there you go. I'm excited. I'm excited to bring this world to life again with the three of you.
Yee! Yeah, I mean, so much to look forward to in the lead up to winter holidays, if you celebrate winter holidays, and in a new year, new game. Right?
Yeah.
It's just.
Aragorn has been begging for this game for years, literally.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
So, blame Aragorn.
Thank you, Aragorn.
Aragorn.
Blame Aragorn. Do, 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 do.
As it named would be a good be a name. You're absolutely right, Gerbermensch. So I think that's bringing this FroYo session to a close. Do you have anything to add, everybody?
Thanks for joining us on our crazy spaceship adventures, folks.
Yeah. That's my spaceship sound. Yeah. It's been such a crazy ride, but it's so good to like decompress about it, and then we'll talk about it, and then talk about what's coming up, and get hype about other stuff. And
Yeah,
I'm just very hype.
hype.
Much hype. Much wow.
One of the hardest parts about starting a new game is that knowing that we have to practice and like get ourselves back into it. But like I'm like, oh, a month and a half, that's a long time. But we have great one shots to look forward to as well. So
yeah.
So we have that. Hey Scott.
Yes. On Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Eastern, you should be able to catch the second volume of history books of Emperor Scottimius I as he continues his conquering of, I think we called it Dick Bay or some garbage. It's like, if you donate bits in stream, you can name part of the map. I don't know, guys. It's going crazy in there. It's getting crazy.
I called it the hump.
Between
the hump? Yes, the hump and the scump. That's right. Just so stupid.
Folks, if you missed the first one, it's Civilization whatever. You don't need to have been there. Yeah, it was a hilarious good time. Scouts in a toga. It's amazing. You should tune in.
It's the stream that's responsible for making sure that I knew that you're allowed to show male presenting nipples on stream and Twitch.
Thank you, because I truly believed I wasn't.
I truly believed you weren't either.
He came into the room and I was like, wow, like kudos to you, because I logged on and you know, the first thing I see are your nipples. You're like, those were visible.
No, honestly, I was like, what?
It was amazing.
Yeah, honestly. Anyway, yeah, sorry. Very funny. Thank you. So yes, that's Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern. I mean, stay tuned to Discord and Twitter.
Drew Crew has moved on from Wednesdays. So Wednesdays belong to me. I am actually going to start trying to find an appropriate permanent rotation gimmick for my stream, because so far it just hasn't kind of solidified. It's always been like, well, I don't know what I'm gonna play, so I'm gonna have to figure that out. I do have an idea. I do have to check with a couple of people to see if that idea can bear fruit. But this may be the debut of Scrub Check.
Oh my god.
We'll see. That is on Wednesday, and that starts at 5 o'clock Eastern time, or possibly we might be. We'll see, but it'll probably be 5 o'clock. On Thursday, clinic hours are open. That's right here on this channel, twitch.tv/RPGClinic at 5 p.m. Eastern time. This week, the topic is going to be co-GMing, running a game with multiple storytellers. What to look out for, what the advantages are, and how it can all go pear-shaped.
Right. Oh.
And of course, you can, there's plenty of opportunity to like chime in and throw in your anecdotes as well on the subject, which I think is like part of the charm and wonder of clinic hours.
Absolutely. Friday?
Friday is episode 2 of Miles Morales here on Team Punchy, 6 p.m. Eastern.
Saturday?
It's really sweet so far. Yeah, it's really good so far.
And Saturday, we're continuing having Drew Crew on Saturdays. It's going to be 3 p.m. Eastern. We might complete the Redgate Farm.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're getting there.
Ooh.
If I stop interrupting.
Well, neither of us can stop interrupting. It's, oh my God.
Throughout the week, occasionally, sometimes we are graced.
We shall see. There's some things going on outside of streams that will probably keep me away at least until Thursday, but stay tuned to the Discord. I might find some hours to throw up some streams. Discord's the place to find them.
To impact your waifus?
Maybe to impact some Genshin, maybe to play something else. Maybe it will be the Age of Calamity. We shall see.
Age of Calamity.
Star Wars Reach has come and it is gone. And frankly, I couldn't be more pleased to be playing not only with this group of fine players, but also with all of you. We get to look forward to 4 incredible one-shots, and then a return to a universe that we've dabbled in before, but never quite like this, with Exalted Dragonblood Academy, starting in 2021, right here at twitch.tv/RPGClinic. We really hope that you'll join us, and we hope that you'll tell other people, because honestly, we'd love to see you. We know what direction we're going in. We'll see you next time.
Bye.